Yes, OG Vol, welcome to the show. We got the cryptid tales, skeleton in a suit. MoKnowz never fails. We talk elections, UFOs, and paranormal trails. Fast tech, NFTs, catch the latest crypto sales. From comments to conspiracies, we dropping knowledge daily. Photo finish, horse racing, we keep it hype, you feel me? VP digital drops, market values never hazy. Stay tuned, the OG Vol, the alpha here is crazy. Yes, OG Vol, welcome to the show. We got the cryptid tales, skeleton in a suit. MoKnowz never fails. We talk elections, UFOs, and paranormal trails. Fast tech, NFTs, catch the latest crypto sales. From comments to conspiracies, we dropping knowledge daily. Photo finish, horse racing, we keep it hype, you feel me? VP digital drops, market values never hazy. Stay tuned.
In the dark of the night, when the moon's hanging low, there's a place where the wildest of tales start to grow. Below the skeleton, with his phony grin, and Vault his co-host, let the story begin. Coming on in, dive into a few things, madness gaming world so vast. We're bringing you the future and echoes from the past. Tales from the crypto where the shadows come alive. Mo and Bolt are your guides. Let's take a dive in the crypto. Cause we've got so much more. Whispers, halls of the of stories untold, political shadows creeping in the night. Mo involves the light long in close season if you need cryptocurrency madness gaming world so vast.
What's up, everybody? Sorry, things were a little laggy there on the intro, so we just went ahead and skipped it. Hopefully the chat is working. Let me do a test on it. We got MoKnowz here. He's setting up his screen. Mo, you there?
Yo yo.
Yo yo, what's up, Mo? What's up, everybody? I see y'all in the chat, and it doesn't show up on the screen yet, but it will here in a second. What are you up to, Mo? How you feeling tonight?
Chilling, man, chilling. I got a majors week here on PFL, so obviously it's gonna be a quick one for me, but I heard we might have a replacement coming in.
Yes, sir. On deck, we've got a special guest co-host coming in at 6 o'clock, so halfway through, so that we don't have to end early. This is the week that Mo has to host the majors over there on Photo Finish Live, the Solana horse racing game. And we got everybody's favorite Alpha Meister, Big A, coming in around 6 o'clock. He's going to talk to us about some Web3 gaming. I told him he's got to give us his opinion on politics too if he wants to come on to Tales from the Crypto. It's a requirement, so we'll get to hear Big A's side of things, because we'll probably be around politics at that time. I know Big A, he has a soft heart for people in need, but on the other hand, he also drives an Aston Martin, so I guess he's a moderate. I don't know what you would call that, but we'll find out when we talk to Big A. We got Woody in the chat. We got some other people. Sorry that my chat was a little late catching up. Had to do a little test real quick. We got Kobe Collects here first in the chat. What's up, Kobe? Good to see you in the chat, my man. Thanks for hanging out with us. What about Vegas is here as well. The OG says Mothman. I think we did a Mothman before. We talked about it during Cryptids a little bit. Diddy OC is here. Ahoy, ahoy, my friend. My man Pixel Pudding with the partner statue badge. Let's go. Yeah, we got some good topics to talk about tonight, too. Appreciate you, DLC. Thank you, my man. Gary Love is here. Also knows about the younger Dryas. This was actually Mo's idea to talk about this topic, so I think he's been studying it a little bit. He'll be able to give us a little bit of information. I've got a couple of graphics to show you guys, and we'll see what you guys think about the younger Dryas. The whole thing with the younger Dryas, though, is that the younger Dryas period is not controversial at all. That's something that all scientists and historians agree on. It is this time between 12,900 years ago, and it lasted for 1,200 years. And during this time in history, all the big creatures died, like the woolly mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers. They call them like megafauna.
Megafauna, yeah.
Yeah, megafauna. They all died during this time too. And the Younger Dryas impact theory is the thing that's actually controversial. And that theory states that the reason why all these creatures died around this time and why the world climate and geography changed so much is because an asteroid or a meteor hit the Earth around that time, around 12,900 years ago. Mainstream
Not
science
necessarily hit the Earth, though, real quick. A lot of people do believe it was air bursts. So a direct impact would have been a little bit different, which some people believe it might have hit the actual polar ice caps or whatever, which if that was the case, you wouldn't see the impact because it would melt away. But a lot of people would actually go more with the airburst idea, and we can talk more about that. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, because I know there's this impact field that a lot of them like to talk about, where they think that most of the impact happened if the meteor or the asteroid actually did hit 12,900 years ago and wiped out all of these species. And the reason why it's controversial and the reason why people like Graham Hancock and others talk about it is because they believe that there was possibly a civilization that existed before that impact, and that impact wiped out that civilization and all reminders of that civilization, so nobody would even, it'd be hard to know that they were actually there. And people think or want to speculate that they were actually pretty advanced. And some of the things that people believe were built by this civilization before the Younger Dryas impact are things like Pumapunku, which if you watch the History Channel and Ancient Astronauts, then you probably know a lot about Pumapunku. It's one of my favorites. It's in, it's been a while, Peru, Bolivia, somewhere in South America, right? So it's this giant mega structure that they built or they found, depending on what you believe. And they don't know exactly how old it is, but they say that the people who created it didn't even have the ability to write at the time. And you can see it's like super intricately made. All the pieces like interconnect. Some of the holes look like they had to be drilled. It would be impossible to do with hand tools even today. And that's just one of many things that a lot of people point to when they're talking about this Younger Dryas impact theory. The one in particular that I want to talk about today, though, is Atlantis. A lot of people know the story of Atlantis. It mostly popped up from Plato, the famous historian who wrote about Plato and said that he visited it himself. And he has lots of quotes where he talks about what Atlantis is.
Well, he never said he visited it.
What's up?
Those are all recounts from, I believe it was Sauron. Like ancestors and stuff. Like those, he didn't actually visit himself from the writings. That's what was led to believe. It was passed down from Sauron and some other people as well.
So he was more like gathering up stories and legends? Correct.
Correct.
Alright, let me try to get my thing so less blurry. It's so annoying.
Which we did go over some of this last week as well, I believe, right? With the Eye of Sahara.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to talk about mostly. So this is where Plato was bringing all these stories around that he had gathered up, and he's talking about Atlantis, and he describes it as a place that had alternate zones of sea and land, larger and smaller, encircling one another. There were 2 of land and 3 of water, which were turned as if with a lathe, each having its circumference equidistant every way from the center. So some artists have put together what he described, and it looks like this, basically. And people have known about this for centuries, the way that Plato described Atlantis, and people have speculated about what he was talking about. But it wasn't until astronauts went up in space, and from space they could see this area in Africa that you can't really tell what it looks like from the ground because it's so huge. It's like 20 miles across. Unless you talk about the outer structure, then it's like 40 miles across. But from outer space, it looks like this. And it looks a lot like what Plato was describing that Atlantis looks like. This is called the Eye of Sahara. It's also called, I think the technical term is the Richat structure. And yeah, it wasn't until astronauts saw it from space. And what's really cool is when you look at it from space and you dig in and you look at some of the geography behind it. This is showing how big it is. It's huge. It kind of, it provides a little bit more believability to the theory of the Younger Dryas impact, because if you look at it from this angle, from way above, doesn't it look like water was there for this whole entire time? You can kind of see the way that
well, the white is the salt. that was left, right? Which again, it would say if that didn't happen with the tsunamis and everything that washed over the Sahara, because again, the Sahara was a lush green land at one point. Nobody even disputes that. But even like this picture you have up right now with the dirt, if you actually tilt this and you take the Eye of Horus, which is like the Egyptian symbol, and you take the Eye of Horus and overlay it on top of it and turn it, it actually fits right on top of it, which again is kind of crazy as how they would have had that aerial idea of what it looks like back in those times. So think about that. Because like you just said, we didn't see it until the astronauts, right?
Right.
But how the hell did they get up there, and how did the Eye of Horus become a thing? Because it's the exact same looking thing that you see as the Eye of the Sahara with everything that washed over it.
Yeah, there had to be some
again, there
type
was
of
rivers.
past
There were
knowledge.
rivers and everything too that ran through Sahara. So
Yeah, 100%.
when Plato talks about the bustling trade and the day and night, it was almost like New York City back in the day, right? So you know that would make sense with all the riverways, and that's how they did all the trade. So.
Yeah, and some people believe that with these waves, the river waves, right here, as you can tell, that it washed maybe out into the sea, all the stuff that was actually in Atlantis, and that's why you don't see anything laying in the earth. But on the other hand, nobody's really dug in there. This is Mauritania, and they don't give people permission to like go dig and find out if this really is Atlantis. So nobody's really excavated. We don't know a lot about it. Some people have visited, but it's just like a barren wasteland up there. But it did used to be, like Mo said, lush green forest, and it was roughly 14,500 years ago, which falls in line with the whole Younger Dryas impact theory of 12,900 years ago. So if you think about that Eye of Sahara space where it is there in Africa, and imagine all of that is green, and those mountains that are behind it, which Plato also talked about, the water was coming. There's areas where you can see there were rivers flowing down into the Eye of the Sahara. So I mean, I think it seems like a pretty good candidate for what he was talking about when he was describing Atlantis. And this also goes back to what we always talk about when we bring up pyramids, that I feel like the pyramids weren't built, they were discovered by the Egyptians, and it's possible that they were built by whatever civilization was here before the Younger Dryas impact, and that these structures, the Sphinx and the pyramid, were just so well made and so colossal that they weren't wiped away. They were buried. Like, if you remember, the Sphinx, when it was discovered, was buried all the way up to its neck in sand. So maybe that's how they lasted through time.
And there's, you know, erosion marks on the Sphinx, which again wouldn't really make sense unless it was some sort of, you know, water at some point. And Plato even talks about the demise of Atlantis, right? And he said there's like a massive wave that comes up, right? So if you think about the Younger Dryas impact theory, and if you think about if it was an airburst or something that impacted and hit the Earth core, like one of those crust plates, the ones that they say move.
Right.
They say if you would hit this with an impact, it would create the tsunami over the Sahara and would also raise the land up, right? So that would explain why it might be raised up, where people would think, oh, it would be sunken. But it might not be, based on how like the Earth's crust, because it's kind of created in a way where it kind of like shifts, right? It doesn't really, the Earth, you know what I'm talking about with the Earth's core plates, how they kind of like roll over each other.
Yep.
So it could kind of create this massive like uplifting and uprising. And that's why you have like the Bimini Road that's underwater now. You have some islands that are directly off the coast of the Eye of Sahara that are also underwater. To the east, to the west rather, what we're looking at on that one shot from Mauritania.
Nice.
But Plato talks about it pretty distinctively. And one important thing to think about, these, supposedly, the Younger Dryas impact came from the Taurid meteor stream, which is named after the Taurus. They're named after the constellation where the meteors would come from, right? The comets.
Okay.
So we pass through this twice a year in the Earth, right?
Yep.
It's in June and it's in October. And Plato actually wrote about it when this actually happened, and it actually would have lined up with the exact time that we were passing through the Taurid meteor stream. And the last evidence we have of that was like 1908 with Siberia, which again, you know, it doesn't have to hit the Earth. The airburst will do crazy amounts of damage. It took out I forgot the exact range, but basically would have wiped out New York City. So if this is an airburst like this hits New York City, like that's it, goodbye. Thankfully in Siberia, it hit like a forest. So there was no crazy impact from that. But that's what happens, potentially could happen twice a year, even today.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are worried about when we go through that asteroid belt. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're talking about the Younger Dryas impact theory. There's Big A right there. He's going to be joining us later on. My man Alejandro is here. Let's go. Pokepoke's here. What's up, my man? Pokepoke wants me to learn how to play Pokemon. I'm interested. I've still got the app. I'll probably try to figure it out. What's up, Mr. Viper Active? Good to see you, my man.
Viper.
Gary says, nobody can make me believe Cyclical civilization isn't real. I'm set on that one. Evidence is too strong. So he's saying that he agrees with this, that there was this civilization, then a meteor came and wiped it all out, and now we're the new civilization. And before that, there was the dinosaurs. They were their own civilization, and they got wiped out. What's up? What about Vegas? Says
For that, they had, was it the P13 crater, which again, they found the evidence. So there is more leading evidence, I guess, to the extinction of dinosaurs. With this, however, and what they're talking about with the civilization that might have been wiped out was the Clovis civilization. Now, what's interesting about them is that most civilizations, they're kind of like they transition out of it. You see like the evolution of the civilization, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas here, it's just gone and buried underneath the Younger Dryas layer. Now, this is an actual layer that can be researched. There's actually a very known one in the United States. It is in, I believe, like Missouri. Where the hell is it?
It's because the Clovis civilization was supposedly the first people who came from Europe overland into North America before, I guess, it really split up as much as it did, right?
Right, and that's where you'll find like a lot of the arrowheads and stuff like that. But like all these things are showing up underneath the layer that they're considering for the Younger Dryas.
Right.
So that it wouldn't make sense because you would find it on top. You know what I mean? The same way you would find the salt water on a different, or the residual salt in the eye of the Sahara on a different layer if these events took place in a different order. I forgot where it is. I'm just trying to. Oh, Arizona, Murray Springs in Arizona.
Okay.
There's an actual layer you can look at. And again, in these layers, you're going to find things like melted quartz, which takes like 2,000 degrees Celsius, whatever, to fragment and melt down. There's like some evidence of like, what the hell is it called? Like iridium and stuff like that you would normally find in comets and stuff that come down to the ground. So, there's definitely a lot of evidence that leads to it. But most of the time when I look up debunking evidence, they're just kind of like, it's convenient. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I buy like, well, that just kind of happens to be convenient when there's a lot of convenient things that line up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they hate to change the official narrative, even if you have a lot of evidence. They always want to be like, oh, that means we were wrong for the last 100 years. Like, yep, you were wrong. Sorry. What about Vegas? Says they knew how to melt
similar like
rocks?
Politics. There's a lot of money in this, right? So there's a lot of money already invested. So the more you start to go against the mainstream beliefs, now this money is almost considered wasted. And people don't like wasted money, so it's easier for them to try to just continue to almost like die on the hill type of deal. And that's when you get like these idiots like, was it Flint Dibble, what his name is?
Yeah.
That go on Rogan and embarrass themselves and continue to do so on a daily basis. Like, the guy's an idiot.
Yeah. What about Vegas says they knew how to melt rocks? That would explain, or could explain, Pumu Punku and possibly even the pyramids, because people don't know how they got those giant rocks there. Who knows? Maybe.
I can't explain the pyramids, because even if you told me that limestone and quartz and everything, granite rather, they were using on the pyramids came from 500 miles away?
Yeah.
And they were ton blocks. Okay, cool. Let's just go on the belief that we can transport this 1 ton block or even heavier, 500 miles. Okay, that's one way. How the hell are you getting it up onto the ceiling of the king's chamber? How are you raising this block? Was it like 50 feet up, like on the ceiling? To me, it's like I'm going with levitation. Like there was some sort of like crazy advanced mind control that made it happen, more than like some dude put it on wet sand and pulled it along. I don't buy that theory at all.
Or vibration control. We've talked about that. Maybe they moved the blocks with vibrations. There's a little bit of evidence backing that up, but it's hard to believe that they had the ingenuity to come up with ways and not just do it with brute force. And I don't know if they had enough brute force to move those giant stones. Daniel C says, I agree totally. They may have modified it, but they definitely did not build it. That's what I think. They found it. Tectonic plates. That's what you're talking about. Exactly.
Yes, thank you, Gary. Yes, thank you. Tectonic
Stan
plates.
the Man's in the house. What's up, Stan? Says the current Egyptians know how the pyramids were built. They know. Mystery drums up tourism. They just don't tell us. The $500 billion investment by Trump for AI will answer all of the questions. I believe that too, or quantum computing.
Well,
but I also believe, I do believe that the Egyptians know stuff, because if you go there as a tourist, and I see people, because I'm all into the travel bloggers, go there as tourists, and you talk to like people there, they have all these complete different stories that they all believe about how the pyramids got there. It's completely different than like history and history books, and they're all, they believe it 100%. So there might be something to that.
Right, and they just recently, this is very recent, discovered a brand new chamber in the Great Pyramid with LiDAR. Now LiDAR, they use it in the Amazon, and they were finding structures and everything that people said would never exist. And I think we've only really discovered like what, 5%? You know what I mean? And now they're trying to get organizations to fund LiDAR scans in the Amazon. But anyway, they did a LiDAR scan, which is like an X-ray.
Yep.
They did it on the Great Pyramid. They found a new chamber, and like Stan was just saying, guess what? They are hell-bent against even drilling the tiniest of hole to send a camera in here to find out what the hell that empty space is, because that could be game-changing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do believe that they know more than they're leaving on. They're almost like gatekeeping, the truth, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, 100%. BK says they could have used earth ramps, and that's kind of some pictures you see of them building the pyramids as they're using these ramps all the way around the pyramids. But like Mo was saying, this is on the interior, so it'd be really tough to do. Daniel C says acoustic levitation. That's what I'm talking about, using sound vibration.
Yeah. And listen, I'd buy into that. You know what I mean? Tesla even looked into it. We talked about it, right? By trying to grab the natural resonance of the core. Every element has like an actual frequency, designated to it. So yeah, you could find that frequency and move it, I guess. We haven't been able to do it, but hey, maybe they did back then.
Who knows how long that civilization was around before the Younger Dryas impact happened? So who knows how far advanced they were? But I guess if they had like really good technology, we would have found it by now. It's hard to think that all of it would have disappeared forever. Of course, you have the big structures, like you have the pyramid and the Sphinx. Maybe that was from it. You have the Eye of the Sahara. You have stuff like Pumu Punku, but you don't have tools from like back then, which I feel like because you were able to find like the arrowheads, like Mo said, that was below that certain level of the Earth, but you don't find a whole lot of tools that were just used by a whole different civilization. I feel like they would be maybe even different kinds of tools that we wouldn't even think about, because it was a completely separate civilization altogether.
Well, yeah, and especially like, even what he's saying here, like how did they cut the edges so great? We can't even do it with modern technology. How did they line them up to these constellations and north-south absolutely perfect across all different civilizations around the globe? How the hell did they do it? Why are there like these quartz, obelisks around that? Because, a quartz can conduct electricity, right? Or energy. Right. So they're saying like maybe if all the pyramids were connected through some global electrical current, using like the electromagnetic field around the Earth, kind of like Tesla again was, looking into, and said he was actually able to do it. But if they did the same thing and powered everything with pyramids into, these quartz obelisks, they very well could line up. But I think we talked about this, right? And somebody blew my mind when I first read it or watched it, and they were like, what if the aliens that we talk about are just our original civilization and we left? So they built everything and they had the technology to get the hell off the Earth, and they did. And so it's not actually another civilization, it's us coming back to basically protect us. You know what I mean? So we are the aliens, it's our ancient civilization coming back. That blew my mind when I first saw it. I'm like, holy crap. What if that's true?
So we're just living on another planet somewhere?
Yeah, well, exactly. They had the technology to build these pyramids, to build these structures, these crazy, natural wonders. And then they were like, yep, there's a crazy impact coming. We can see it. We recognize it. Because again, apparently they were able to navigate, celestial stars and seas and everything like that. Because even go back to like, was it the Palamadis maps? I forgot the name of them. There's like an old school set of maps, and they had longitude nailed perfectly back in the day. It took us until like the mid 18th century to get that technology down, right? Yep. So for them to be able to do it so perfectly with latitude and longitude kind of shows you they were already more advanced than people give them credit for.
Some of those old maps are impressive, like the ones that show the land beneath the ice of Antarctica.
We talked about that one, right?
Long before they had the ability to do that.
That was like the Spaniards map. I forgot his name, but yeah.
Yep.
There's quite a few of them, but they all said they supposedly went to the Library of Alexandria.
Yes.
Which was lost, right? Which was burnt down.
Right.
And they were saying that some of these maps were taken out beforehand and then referenced in later maps, because they do say that in later maps. They're like, oh, these are referenced by earlier maps. So.
Right. And some of those maps could have came back, but could have lasted from the prior civilization, possibly. Maybe that's how they have that information. Daniel C says, I think the guy who built the Coral Castle in Florida used acoustic levitation. There was a picture of a weird box type thing when he was building it that no one knows for sure what they were. We're lucky, Daniel C. I know all about the Coral Castle, so I know exactly what you're talking about. If you don't know about it, it's this weird dude. He was an immigrant. I forget where he came from, somewhere in Eastern Europe. One of these Eastern European immigrants comes and moves down to Florida, and then he starts building this castle out of super heavy coral in his like backyard. And it's a huge castle that still exists today, and he's moving these 100-pound blocks of coral, and nobody knows how he's moving them. And he does it at night where nobody can see, and he like put a fence up so nobody could watch, and he won't tell anybody his secret. And one thing he did say, I think he put a pamphlet out about it, he's like, I'm building this using the ancient mysteries of the pyramids. And like Denny said, there is one special picture that shows him using some tool that he created to move some stuff, and on the top of it is this weird black box, and nobody knows what the black box is. And I think somehow he might have alluded that it was part of the mysteries of the pyramids too. So I don't know, that place still exists in Florida. Denny knows about it. It's pretty interesting to see how this one little skinny old guy was able to create this giant castle out of this really heavy material, moving it all by himself. Gary Love says,
I mean, unless I see video of him doing it by himself. I mean, he could say he did it by himself.
Yeah,
but
he did it all in secret. He didn't want nobody to know. Gary Love says Anunnaki, and I was going to mention, as Mo was talking about the other materials that they just happen to know was valuable. It's the same with gold. Gold is like the super conductive material, and they didn't know that back then, but everybody already knew for some reason that gold was special and gold was valuable, and maybe had something to do with the whole legend of the Anunnaki, that we were created back then to mine the gold for this alien race of beings. Big A says they found the entire city where the pyramid builders lived during construction. That is how they dispelled the myth that it was mostly slave built. It was highly skilled tradesmen and respected job. Now, I don't know if they were all highly skilled tradesmen, but yes, I do remember that they found these cities and that it kind of dispelled the myth that it was all built by slaves. But it took a lot of people. They weren't all highly skilled, I don't think, highly skilled craftsmen. I'm sure some of them were slaves. Isn't that how like Jewish began? Weren't they Egyptian slaves at first? That would like completely dispel that whole religious pretext, because that's what they were. They were slaves to the Egyptians. Sandbox says, what's up, Sandbox? The book series called The Law of One by Ra. It's about a channeled entity called Ra explaining how pyramids were built. The book series called The Law of One. Oh, okay. But it's by Ra. Ra, the god himself, actually is the one who wrote it. Somebody wrote it and called himself Ra. That's
Might have Ra. It's one of my favorite slots.
Information in there. Cookies in the house. What's up, Cookies? Says, who is the skeleton? What's up, Gucci OG? What's up, Cookies? The skeleton's MoKnowz. He is my big homie. He's a VV OG, but he's also the voice of Photo Finish Live, the Solana horse racing game. He calls races over there. He's going to be calling them tonight. He's big over there on Kick, and he does a little bit of Twitch, too. Daniel C says, dude sounded like a nut job. No evidence they built him, just worked on him. I know, I've heard some skeptics give their opinions on the Coral Castle, too, and, of course, they're skeptical that he did it all by himself. I don't know how he would have done it. If he did it, he used some type of magic like he claims. But, all right, let's move on to our next topic. As usual, our second topic is sports.
Ooh, baby. Oh, I actually had a cool sports video to show you. I forgot.
Oh, yeah? Not a whole lot going on in sports besides basketball. It's basketball time, y'all. We love basketball here in Indiana. It's March, the beginning of March, so as you probably know, it's about time for March Madness. Selection Sunday is it's March 16th. And then the first game is March 18th and 19th. The first round is that weekend. So fill out your brackets. I don't know if you guys do brackets. Mo, do you do brackets?
Nah, I used to when I worked in the auto body shop.
Yeah, I used to do brackets. Definitely like in college, I did a lot. A lot of my old jobs, we would do brackets, but I ain't done it in like 2 years. I think we did one like with the VV fam 3 years ago, but it's been a couple years since I've done brackets. Here is the top 25 according to, I think his name is Howard Katz, the Katz dude. Number 1, Auburn. Number 2, Duke. I like Duke. We're going to talk about Duke. But first, I wanted to point this out. I don't know if you knew this, Mo. You probably do, but I didn't know this. Your boy, Penny Hardaway, did you know he's the coach of the University of Memphis?
Is he coaching him now? Hell no, I didn't know that, bro.
He's in his 7th year. I had no idea.
7th year?
And they're good this year, too. Yeah, they're good.
He's the head coach?
He's the head coach.
Man, I'm out of the loop.
I had no idea. I was like, I
apparently.
wonder if Mo knows that. I think they are ranked number 16 right now. Overall.
Let's go, man.
That's pretty good.
Let's go. That's the GOAT right there, in my
Yes.
opinion. I love Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, like Penny. Penny's a former NBA player. If you guys don't know, he played with Shaq and he was in the movie Blue Chips. Check it out.
Kept Jordan in check, by the way, in a few games. You know?
Yeah.
I remember those days. He played some good D on Jordan in quite a few games.
The team I'm liking in the March Madness tournament this year is Duke. They've got Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's probably going to be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft next year. I was watching him actually yesterday. I turned on a little bit of live basketball. I was on YouTube. I was surprised, which makes sense because 3 minutes later it went off and said you have violated copyright or something. So they shouldn't have been streaming it. But for the 3 minutes I was watching, he was crushing it. He was getting rebounds. He had a block. He had an assist. He's a big dude playing for Duke. A lot of people were not happy that he went to Duke. They feel like that's the safe play for a guy like him. But I think it's going to work out fine. And hopefully they have a big run in the tournament. I might fill out a bracket this year, and I'll probably have Duke winning it all. You got any particular team you think's going to win this year, Mo?
Nah, like I said, I don't
watch
keep
college
up,
much.
especially this year with everything going on.
Yeah.
And trying to rebuild my damn life.
I hear that. Yeah. I don't watch much college basketball. I watch a little bit of NBA. Here's your update on the NBA standings. This is the East. Right now, the Cavaliers are on first. My Pacers are in 5th, so they're set to make the playoffs most likely. Celtics, last year's champions, are 2nd. And the West, the big talk is the Lakers. Lakers have been killing it with Luka. He started off slow, but he's been crushing it lately. And then the trade.
What a dumb trade, man. what a dumb trade. It's like trading Jordan during his prime, dude. Why? Because the guy likes cheeseburgers and beer? Come on, man. That guy is a freaking beast, dude.
People are so mad at the Mavericks management for trading away Luka Doncic for they traded for Anthony Davis, and then he went down like the second game for the Mavericks. He's been out since then. And then one of their top players, Kyrie Irving, just found out yesterday he's out for the rest of the year, out for the season. He is injured as well. So yeah, people are upset at the Mavericks. Last year they were in the championship game. This year, they're not even going to make the playoffs after that horrible trade. I've watched a whole video about a conspiracy theory about why they did it. None of the players were involved, which is really weird, especially for a big name trade like that. And it has a lot to do with the billionaire owners wanting them to move it out of Dallas, move the team out of Dallas into Vegas. And it has to do with they want to own a casino. Both of the guys who bought it from Cuban are casino owners. It goes deep, man. So I don't know. It's craziness over there in Dallas.
Your waters run deep. I didn't hear that. Sick. Look into that.
Poka Pokey says, who remembers Malice at the Palace in 2004? I could tell you right.
Pacers, Pistons, right?
I was going to tell you right where I was. I was watching that game live. It was at the end of the game when I stopped watching it because it was a blowout. I didn't even see that part, so I switched to another channel, and then my friend called me and was like, "Are you watching this right now? Switch back, blah, blah, blah." So I switched back, and I pretty much watched the whole thing happen live. It was the Pacers and the Pistons got into a huge fight. If you haven't seen it before, just look up Malice in the Palace. It's probably the worst NBA fight of all time. It was crazy. It was wild.
Actually, it was wild. I had a video. I don't know if it might be a good time to try your Mo and Tell scene real quick.
Yeah, well, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Let me move over here.
It's just a quick video, but this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, dude. Let me know when you actually have me up.
Oh, yeah, you're up. You're good to go.
Oh, I am up. Okay.
Might not be perfectly centered, but we're working. This is our new Mo and Tell scene right here. Here we go.
So this is, it's like a LED court.
Ooh.
Peep this, bro.
So are they in a warehouse or something?
Any team. Yeah, it's like some facility in Florida.
Ah.
They can change the court into any team. They can put freaking sharks in lava and shit like underneath there, bro. They can do whatever they want. This is sick.
It is very sick. That'd be cool to have like sharks and lava and stuff like that.
But at the touch of a button, you're like, oh, you're holding the tournament. It's the Knicks versus the Magic. Bam, change the court. You know, you got the Celtics and the Pacers coming up. Bam, change the court like instantly.
You can draw on it too. That'd be great for coaching.
Yeah, you can draw on it. You can do plays and everything. You can have the plays like animated as it's going. It's good for practice. Yeah.
I like it. That is
Really cool though, man. I meant to send you that video. I found it like an hour ago, but it was kind of cool. All right, and that was it. That's a first Mo and Tell segment.
Let's go. Denny OC likes it. Says back when the NBA was still fun to watch. I know everybody hates the NBA right now. I feel like it's too many threes. We talked about it the other day. The Raps are training there right now. Oh, the Raptors are training there. NBA is too trash now. Everybody seems to feel that way. I like the NBA better than any other sport personally. It's more fun to watch, but that's just me. I watched football all my life, so maybe I'm just tired of football. All right, let's move in to our favorite topic of the week, politics. I mean, where do we start with politics? Oh my goodness. All right, Mo, this is going to be my new question that I ask you every week. So let's start it off right here. Do you regret your vote for Trump yet?
No, absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. The balls on Zelensky coming in there like that. The hell, crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Trump versus Zelensky. At this point, it feels like it was 2 months ago. So many other things have happened, but all right, let's first, before we get to
markets have pumped and crashed like 4 times since I've seen you.
It's been
again,
a while.
thanks Trump.
Thanks a lot, Trump.
You know.
All right, first, what do you think about this, Mo? Is this not like one of the worst things the president has ever done? And I'm talking, of course, about Trump Gaza, the video he put out, the AI video showing of him colonizing Gaza and making it into a giant resort, and posted it on his social media. I mean, that is like the best ISIS recruitment video that's ever existed, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't remember that being on the voting board, but that was wild shit. that was a wild shit. I had to double check and triple check to make sure he actually posted that. Like, what? I guess we all have downtime, right? We got some free time, but
all right.
Like the Elon's hanging out. Who's at the end? The guy who was at the. It was the president.
Freaking
president
Netanyahu.
Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ,
and it shows Trump on it, and he's like really fat, which is what it should be. But he's like hitting on another girl that's not his wife in the video. And then there's the dancing beard.
I mean, that's normal. Yeah.
I guess that is normal.
Grab him by the pussy, you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, that one, it's wild that he even posted that. That was just recently, and nobody's even talking about it anymore. Like, it's no big deal. So let's move on to the next big deal, which was the Trump-Zelensky Oval Office meeting. Of course, it was very interesting to see Vance and Rubio there, because you see these Oval Office meetings with heads of countries all the time, and it's always the president and the the foreign president. It's only 2 people. They're in the 2 yellow seats. They're in the Oval Office. There's never anybody else there. So the fact that they were there for this one time when there was this blow up makes a lot of people think that it was kind of a setup or it was done on purpose. I can't confirm or deny. But what's really interesting about it, if you dig into that whole meeting, and the reason why they got Zelensky there in the first place was this deal that they were trying to do for the minerals, which is a pretty crazy deal in the first place. The deal is that we will keep helping them against Russia if they give us 50% of all of their natural minerals from now until the rest of time, until the end of time. And what's the mineral that they're getting out of Ukraine mostly is lithium, and who needs lithium? Tesla and Elon Musk. So they were going to agree.
Oh, we all do. We need it for all sorts of technology. I mean, it's not just Elon.
Well, they're starting to make. Well, it's just funny that they started doing this mineral deal only when Elon came into the picture, like it was his idea because he's going to benefit from it. Was the point of it? But also,
well, we're always looking at other places to get minerals from, strike deals. I mean, it's not super unheard of. But yeah, I mean, the timing is okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it seems like messed up timing, like we're strong-arming somebody who is getting beat down or is getting attacked at the time. But the whole point of the deal, though, was that Zelensky said that it had to have security guarantees, because that's the whole point of it. And he said he's not even going to, I don't know if he said it, but he implied that he wasn't even going to come to Washington to sign the deal if it didn't have security guarantees. So Trump's team told him, come to Washington, you're going to get your deal, you're going to get your security guarantees. Then he gets to Washington, they give him the deal, and the deal doesn't have any security guarantees. So they kind of tricked him to get him there. And it was really wild. I don't know if people on the right see all this stuff that people on the left see. Like, I don't know I think they shut them off from certain information. If you didn't know, the Russian state news agency, TASS, they had a correspondent in the Oval Office during that meeting. and they're not allowed to be there. They're not even close to being allowed to be there. How did they get in there? Who let them in there? And why were they in there? They also kicked out like the Associated Press and another media, which is fine. But the fact that they like snuck in, it's not even like some random Russian news source. It's the Russian state news agency. They pretty much set this up as a show for Putin and made sure that Putin could see it. Whenever somebody got word that this guy from TASS was there, they kicked him out right away because he's not allowed to be there. He's from not only a foreign country, but he's from an enemy foreign country. So it's kind of crazy that somebody on Trump's team allowed him to be in the Oval Office and report on that as it was happening. And during the same time, the new Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered that the U.S. Cyber Command stands down from all planning against Russia, including offensive digital actions. So they're pretty much, we're pretty much the bad guys now. We're pretty much on Russia's team now. I don't understand why or how or why people are good with this and okay with this and happy with this. It's blowing my mind. I'll stop right there for now. I've got a few more graphics to talk about when it comes, because so much has happened. But
yeah, something actually did happen 12 minutes ago. I don't know if we're going to believe, was it Reuters?
I'm not surprised.
12 minutes ago, U.S. Ukraine now plan to sign minerals deal, sources say.
Yeah, well, they'll go back and forth with it.
Here we go.
And forth with that 10 times. They just said, I guess a couple hours ago, they said that USA is temporarily cutting off all aid to Ukraine.
Yeah, that was the last thing I saw. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So they probably called the bluff. It's like with the Colombian people, right? It's like, oh, we're not gonna take them back, and it's like, oh, tariff. All right, never mind. We'll come pick them up. We'll be there in a minute.
See, it's all misinformation that people on the right get. That's not at all what happened with Colombia. Trump is the one who got punked by Colombia. He brought all these prisoners over here in chains and shackles, all handcuffed, and the Colombian president said, no. They haven't committed any real crimes like that. You can't be treating them like they're some felons and stuff. So he sent them back and said, you can bring them back to us when they're not in handcuffs and they're not in chains. I'll even send my presidential plane over there to get them. And Trump obeyed, Trump complied, and then tried to pretend like he did something to make the Colombian president back down. But it was Trump that backed down.
Are we on the same timeline? I'm going to see some shit on that. Because basically, we deported people. They said no. We said, okay, tariffs coming. They said, hold up, we'll pick them up. I'm going to need to see something on that.
No, go look it up. The Colombian president said, no, you cannot bring these guys back in chains and shackles. And he took them back and brought them back without chains and shackles.
We brought them. No, they came and picked them up.
Yes.
They came and picked them up.
Yes, he was doing that.
Right.
He said he will come and pick them up, but you cannot have them in chains and shackles. And they were not in chains and shackles. That was the deal breaker right there. Not some crazy stuff that Trump made up to pretend like he won.
Well, they said they weren't going to take them back, period. That was the original.
Not in chains and shackles. All right, let me catch up with the chat. F1 starts in less than 2 weeks. That's a sport that maybe we should talk about during the sports section, but I know nothing about. I know Denny's into it.
F1, yeah, I know. What's about that? I do the NBA.
Maybe I could start watching like highlights. If I look it up, I'm sure they'll show me like race highlights. I couldn't watch a whole entire race. There's no way. Woody.
Bro, the highlights are just. It's the Doppler effect.
It's the shit show in Washington. That's 100% accurate. Stan's talking about Canada, our 51st state. Just kidding, Denny. Yeah. I promise can never be the 51st state. Some people want it, apparently. I see the Canadians tweeting sometimes. Zelensky could have taken anybody in that room. HuffPost, I believe. Yeah, Huffington Post got kicked out also, but they put in the state media for Russia. Here we go with Troy. He's going to agree with the right-wing approach like always. I thought that meeting was super weird. Wish Trump and Vance would have kept cooler heads. Oh, they did it on purpose. Felt like they were playing bad cop, bad cop. I felt like they kind of had that planned. And it didn't really make any sense, the stuff that they were yelling and arguing about, because all Zelensky was saying, like, you have an ocean between you, but you're going to feel the effects if Russia wins this war, which is 100% true. And what people on the right fail to admit or believe is that if we cave in to Putin right now and let Putin keep this land and we end the war and we do a peace agreement, what happens is Putin backs up, he rearms, he waits for a Democrat to be president, and then he attacks again because he is literally working with Trump and the Republican Party. It's just obvious.
But what other guarantees can Trump give us that he hasn't invaded or will not invade under my power? Like that, you know what I mean? And again, okay, so no security guarantees, but like Trump said, you think we're not going to protect our investment? If we're there on site getting minerals and Russia did happen to fucking cross in, you don't think we're going to protect our investment? He said that numerous times. So, I mean, yeah, again, I think the biggest problem from what I took out of it, first of all, the reporter's question about do you want a suit, that was out of pocket. That should have never happened. But as far as the other shit, man, like, you don't have certain types of conversations out in the public. Like, those are questions that they could have, and they would bring them up behind closed doors and work on details, but not out in the open. He tried to put them on blast, and it clearly backfired because we'll see what happens with this deal if it goes through today. But
well, I mean, he was making a point, but he was making a. You might be right. He might have been a little bit too forceful when he was making his point, but the whole point was that Vance was trying to talk about diplomacy, and he's saying, like, we did the diplomacy. I've already signed a peace agreement, and then what happened? Russia attacked again, even with the diplomacy. So what am I supposed to do now? Like, why should I trust this diplomacy? And then Vance just went to a whole other direction from the third grade. Have you said thank you today? Have you said thank you since you came in? Brother, I said thank you 20 times in the last week.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had to go and look up like when he was saying thank you, and it's like when he gets pressed to say thank you, he does, but he does do the normal like, oh, you know, thank you for having me here and stuff like that. Do they want groveling? Which again, I wouldn't agree with either. Like, do we expect them to get down and like fucking hands and knees and shit and like grovel like they're gods? I mean, that would be kind of obscene, you know. But again, I think it was just the timing of when he wanted to have that certain type of discussion, which from everything I know about this is that takes place behind closed doors. It's not like public shit, you know. But we'll see. I mean, did you watch the Brett Baer interview after?
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I don't even think Zelensky handles himself that poorly. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, he buried himself even more. I didn't see that.
Well, did you see? You know, did you see the Putin press? Not the Putin. Sorry, I called him Putin. The Trump press conference right after the Oval Office meeting, because Trump's whole argument was, "Stop being mean to Putin. Stop being mean to Putin."
Oh yeah. Well,
like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, have you ever had just two people that absolutely fucking hate each other, but you're friends with them? I mean, or have to do business with them? I mean, you have to get these guys on a cool, even playing field, man. Like, I mean, I've been there.
It's hard to be on an even playing field whenever he's like complimentary of Putin at all times, and he makes fun, or you know, he's mad at Zelensky the whole entire time, especially when Zelensky's the one that's supposed to be our ally.
Well, I think Trump wants the illusion that everybody's our ally. And listen, I still believe it's a whole keep your friends close, enemies closer type of deal. That's how I've lived my entire life.
Well, it seems like he's pushing our friends away. What about these new tariffs that he just announced on Canada and Mexico, causing the markets to crash? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, it'll be temporary. Just all he wants to do is make sure that there's no fentanyl and legal shit coming through. And 30 days, they'll be lifted. They'll be good. They got to show proof, though.
I don't care about fentanyl.
We just want everything out in the open, even playing field. You know what I'm saying? We all contribute the same. I mean, that's what this world should be all about. But, you know, if they can show that, then the tariffs will be removed. And if that doesn't happen, we'll have a different conversation. But I believe that will happen because, you know, they're trying to keep the business going.
That's going to hurt until then for all of us consumers. Denny OC is talking about Drive to Survive starts on Friday on Netflix.
What about the $5,000 tax rebate? That'll cheer everybody, right?
Nobody getting no $5,000 tax rebate. They ain't even found They even found like 100 million worth of fraud yet. You know, they removed everything that they add to the Doge website that they supposedly found, because then it gets disproven every time. Like, there's the opera.
Not everything.
Yeah, well,
not everything. So
much.
We talked about this last week. Remember, we talked about this. I was telling you about the bubble map type shit.
And even more stuff has been taken off of the Doge website since last week too. The top five things.
But we can't say they're all bullshit, because even one of the NGOs they looked into was in San Antonio. And they were like, listen, they were getting 50 mil in 2020. 2021 is skyrocketed to 650 million. It was Endeavor. And when the local news outlet went into it, and then again, this was straight from the company, nobody else. Endeavor themselves came out and said, oh, it was a cold facility just gearing up with 3,000 beds for migrant children and stuff in case we needed it. And yet it went from 50 mil to $650 million in a 1-year period. And you're going to tell me that there's not waste of money there? I mean, that just sounds crazy. Like, nothing changed, but the budget went up 10x. Like, I don't know. And that was verified from Endeavor, from the actual company. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. Yeah, that would probably be some wasteful stuff. But I mean, 3 golfing trips for Trump pretty much makes up for that right there. So,
I mean, I would golf on the company dime too. Let's face it. You know what I mean? I'd take you with me.
Much. Well, if you take me with me, I guess it's okay.
I'd touch money right there. You know what I mean?
Drive to Survive is the F1 reality show. I guess apparently Stan the Man likes F1 too. Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari Do they have an Aston Martin? I would watch if they had an Aston Martin racing. Zelensky is a professional actor in the Ukraine. We are being fooled.
He was a comedian.
Yes, he's a
And he did
comedian.
most of his work in Moscow, apparently.
I love it when Trump people are like, "Oh, he's a comedian. He's a comedian." I'm like, bro, you voted for a reality show, TV reality show host. I mean,
Well, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I was just saying he was a comedian.
I like comedians. That's why I want Jon Stewart to run for president. Pokey says Lewis Hamilton can win the championship again if he drives well in a Ferrari team. I think Lewis Hamilton's even a guy I've heard of. I think he's always been the top guy for a long time over there. Stan says OG hates Vivi, but he does business. Maybe. What's up, Grandma Moore? Good to see you. It says we need to take care of America and get out of debt, then worry about the people. Let these other countries fend for themselves. Until then, we need to keep our nose out of it. I love it. It's hilarious how people on the right will always talk about the debt whenever they get in office.
No, but it's always a thing. I think what most people are talking about, well, imagine me trying to tell you how to parent your kid. I don't even have kids. I can't even take care of my own shit. And I'm supposed to be telling you, like, how to run your shit? Like, how are we supposed to be so far in debt and then try to help other people like we're the fucking icon of the world? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree 100%, but I've explained it a million times, but do people not understand how the debt happens? The debt happens from the yearly deficit, and the yearly deficit goes up under Republican presidents because they pass big tax cuts for the rich every time. And then Democrats come in and the yearly deficit goes down every time. I can give you the exact stats. Bush Sr., he had a deficit. Clinton came in, last president, he had a surplus. He had a yearly surplus. They were taking in more revenue than they were spending on their budget for the last time. And then who came in? Bush Jr. Bush Jr. had a deficit of $1.2 trillion per year whenever he left office. And then Obama came in for 8 years. And in 8 years, he cut the deficit by 50% despite being in a recession. And when he left the deficit was $600 billion per year, half of the $1.2 trillion that Bush Jr. left. And then when Trump came in, within 2 years, it was back up to $1.5 trillion per year. So every time a Democrat comes in, they fix the economy. Every time a Republican president comes in, they crash the economy. And what's happening right now?
Or it takes time to kick in. And it's all just, that's why we keep switching people out. We don't really get a fucking idea, right? Like, let's just keep somebody in for like 10 years, see what happens. See if one party fucking fixes it. Now, I'm not saying it's got to be Trump. But,
Obama was in for 8 years, and that's the best the economy's been for a long time. Clinton was in for 8. That was the best it's been for a long time. Bush was in for 8, and it was going really well. And then he passed the Bush tax cuts, and he destroyed the deficit because that's what Republican presidents do. That's what they're there for. They're there to get their rich friends richer, and they always pass rich tax cuts. And what's Trump doing right now? Trying to pass a new tax cut of like $4 trillion that goes mainly to the rich people.
I don't know how much of that is true, but on top of, again, everything else that we are uncovering every day, which I'm you saying is being removed. But again, he talked about many deals even already where it's a lot of money, dude. Which, again, Democrats might just... Okay, so if your idea is good, then Democrats, if they just stop wasteful spending, we would be the richest company in the fucking world, country in the world.
That's the problem with the whole wasteful spending argument. That's the problem with Troy Carsey talking about right here with Doge. The whole wasteful spending is people are not good at math. If you're talking about this opera for trans people in Nova Scotia, that was $20,000, and you talk about
$50 million for Moroccan pottery, fucking condom, sex education in fucking Africa. I mean, listen, you could tally this shit up all day, but even being fair, again, if me and you are partners in a fucking situation, and I'm like, all right, you're gonna put in 90, I'm gonna put in 10, you would never take the fucking deal. And yet America is supposed to take that deal every fucking time because we're America. And I think that's what people are more or less referring to. Because again, that number's out there. You could say, oh, well, EU, this, that, and the other. It is a close number. It's like 119 billion, right? But if you look at how much of a loan is compared to how much we're actually just paying, that's bullshit too. Why are they getting money back? Why aren't we getting a kickback? Because we're America. Like, that's the fucking answer, and I don't like it. And I don't think other people do either.
Well, there is a such thing as humanitarian aid, and basically...
Which is very minimal, by the way, coming from the U.S. and the EU.
We should not have any humanitarian aid, and I feel like we should have humanitarian aid.
Yeah, but then why is 98% of our money going into military and not humanitarian aid? Because that's the smallest one here, and I have a chart I can even send you.
Oh, no, I mean, I agree there should be less military spending, but that's something that Republicans will never cut.
Well, neither will fucking Democrats, because they got people fucking in place, too.
Yeah.
You know, listen, everybody benefits of it. It's the money. Listen, the one thing we agree on is get the money out of politics. And you can get the money out of politics by, again, having rules and regulations in place for like, hey, if you held a government position, you can't leave and go run some fucking war company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got the connections and you can easily get that deal, you know? So things like that, if we just put those things in place, we might be able to save it, whether it's Democrat, Republican, whoever.
The problem is the people who benefit from that most are congressmen, and the only people who could put that rule in place are congressmen.
Well, right.
They vote against their own self-interests.
Yes, exactly. And that's the fucking tangled web we weave.
Unless we got a good president who would put in an executive order. Now, Trump talked about doing an executive order to institute term limits for congressmen, and that would be something that would be awesome. I would applaud him for it, but he said it like one time, and I haven't heard anything else about it. But I hope he does. Definitely add term limits for congressmen. I think that's a great idea. Stan says $5,000.
Limits, absolutely.
I'm buying a partner collectible. You can probably buy 3 for $5,000, but ain't nobody getting no $5,000. Trump is just fixing Biden's screw-ups. Like what? Be particular or be specific so I can debunk. Danielle C says, if Ferrari can keep their stuff together, I'll just say stuff, this year, then Leclerc, is that a type of car? A Leclerc have a real good shot, maybe that's a driver, with 6 rookies in the field, not going to lie, would be a very interesting season. People are big into F1. They've been big into it for a while now, too. I have some friends that aren't even into crypto or anything like that are big into F1. I mean, I guess it would be fun to watch. I like stock car racing. I like going there in person and watching figure 8 racing. Jay says, Trump has been in the office for 2 months and they want to blame him for the effed up economy. Yes. The economy was going great, and he's the one who's putting changes in place. He's the one doing the tariffs. How can you say
it's going great for every other country, but again, like most people will talk about, looking around my state, other states, I mean, it ain't too great. So I don't know the greatness everyone keeps talking about.
Unemployment, GDP, there's a lot of ways you can look. Big A says,
it's funny
that
you
I
can
see
manipulate, but my eyes are telling me, and people I talk to,
the prices are high,
it ain't so
but
great.
Trump said he was going to bring prices down. That's not happening. It's going the opposite direction. And he hasn't done anything to try to bring prices down. Let me read Big A's comment here.
He says everything is how you do it. But we talked about this, and I think you agree where that can't happen overnight, because you can't bring factories and you can't bring.
He said it was going to happen overnight. He said day one.
Well, the price of eggs, yeah. But again, I think you bring that down by, again, decreasing the price of everything else around it. And if you have to spend a little extra money for the tariff on a fucking Samsung refrigerator, you might not mind if everything else is made in the USA. Because again, coming out of the 80s and 90s, that was like half the commercials I saw on TV. You know, buy made in the USA, buy American.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
But it depends on how much higher the price is. It's going to be a big difference if everything is 2x the price it is now, and we're making the same amount of money.
Well, if we're paying less for goods that are made here in the U.S., but again, we pay 25% more for a refrigerator. I mean, and a washing machine. I mean, do they balance out? Does it go in the consumer's favor here in the U.S.? I don't know. I guess that's the question.
Says, it's funny that I see it removed my Trump comment, but then he responded to it. Does that mean it doesn't delete for everyone? That is weird. Did it not show up above Mo's head there? That's really weird, because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it either.
Maybe Denny has special admin privileges that we don't know about. Troy says, my point is, whatever they find, that's wasteful spending in our government. Shouldn't that be celebrated? Define wasteful. Just because you call it wasteful, it's not wasteful for the people that's getting the AIDS medication in Africa that saves their lives. I mean, that's called humanitarian aid. That's something that America is known for. It's also a type of soft power. So, I mean, although you consider it to be wasteful, I consider giving Elon Musk a whole bunch of government contracts wasteful, and giving corporate subsidies. He got a little contract
before Trump even got in, though. I mean,
he's got some since then too. I've got a graphic about that. All right, let's see. Stan says, I want my factories back. It was, a lot of stuff got outsourced during Trump's administration. Jay says, what humanitarian aid? We have a huge homelessness problem in this country. We need to take care of our own first. That's fine, do it. But a lot of times that gets put back on the states, and we're talking about federal aid as overseas aid, third world country aid. And when you talk about homelessness, that's usually left to the states. But I mean, if you want to do a federal...
I mean, there should be some federal. That should be humanitarian aid to our own damn people.
We're going the opposite direction right now. The new budget bill that the House of Representatives passed cuts SNAP benefits, cuts Medicare, and then Joe Rogan had Elon Musk on the other day, and he was calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme. So they're trying to cut everything and give all the money to the rich people, bro. I mean, Mo, it's not going to be long before when I ask you that question about regretting your vote that I'm going to get the yes answer. Sandbox says,
What if I'm rich by then? What if by the time it happens, I'm rich and I'm like, well, now I get to take advantage of the loopholes?
then don't regret it. Let's see that happen. I hope it does happen. I'll be asking for a loan.
It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. Let's put it that way.
Sandbox says, historic adversaries paint a troubling picture. The New World Order is called the United States of Russia. The reason I assert this is that once European nations restructure their alliances, yes, and that's one of the actual graphics I had next was talking about how they're doing a meeting with NATO and Zelensky and everybody except for America. That's crazy, man. We're the bad guys now, it seems like, in some ways.
We're trying to do our own thing. Again, I'm all about that. Let's just go fix our own shit. We'll reevaluate, you know what I mean? And then we'll come back to the table and we'll be a better USA 2.0, you know what I mean?
Let me know in the chat. What do y'all think? Should we leave NATO? If you're American anyway, or do you think America should leave NATO? It's kind of crazy to me. We used to always, talk about NATO, about how it was such a great alliance and it was everything. I mean, these were the good guys, and now we're leaving. We're not going to be in it anymore. It's crazy. Denny says, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I don't think the government should be taking taxpayer dollars to donate to when we are already so far in debt. I mean, so we shouldn't have any humanitarian aid at all? That's fine. But, USA does other things besides humanitarian aid. Sometimes it's part of, like, undercover operations. So, for example, I think it was in Cuba, USAID is the one who actually paid local rappers to start rapping about how bad the government was. Like, they do those kind of psyops too. So I mean, they have other functions. That's we have to be around the world. If you look at China, that's exactly what China's doing right now, especially in Africa, as they're building all these roads for free, getting that soft power. So that if there's some World War III, which side are you going to be on? The side that doesn't help anybody, or the side that's building free roads in your country? That's soft power. What he says, Jay, Elon cut the homeless aid programs, and cancer research. Rent, gas, grocery prices are at all-time highs before Trump took office. They've gone up since he took office, and he said that he would bring prices down on day one, or would start bringing prices down on day one. Tell me any action he's taken towards bringing prices down. Danielle C says
Gas has gone up by you, not here in New York.
What's up?
Gas prices have gone up here in New York.
I haven't paid it that close attention. I'm just looking at egg all-time highs is what I've been seeing the last week after week. They keep going up. I don't know why.
Murdered all the chickens. Biden murdered all the damn chickens. What the hell?
There was bird flu. Bird flu's a real thing. We got it. They're trying to keep us safe.
Made up by the Democratic governor of California.
Just like COVID. Okay.
Like
almost 70% of jobs added are all part-time government contract jobs. Okay. Is that in Canada? I mean, we're not getting any of those anymore. They're getting rid of all the federal government jobs these days. Leclerc is a driver. Gotcha.
I saw that one lady, she was freaking out. It was on TikTok or Facebook. She was like, he wanted 5 things that I should keep my job with on a Saturday night. Talking about Elon.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, I already had a rough week. Now he's expecting me to do more work on a Saturday night. Crying and shit.
It is the opposite of efficiency, though, to make every government employee fill out that 5-question email, send it back to him, and then somebody over there has got to go through, or some software's got to go through. Again, that's less efficient.
That's efficient, because you're going to weed out all the people that haven't. They talked about all the people that didn't even respond. They're like, all right, well, if they don't respond, then get new jobs.
Well, I mean, I was in the AFGE, the American Federal Government Employees, American Federal Union of Government Employees, and I'm still on their mailing list. So I was getting all the emails from AFGE during this whole thing, and they were telling them, I mean, I even screenshotted some of them. They were saying Elon has no authority, pay no attention to this. Ask the head of your department first, but most likely you don't have to pay any attention to this. They have no authority here. They have no reason to be asking for this information. So they were playing it like it was no big deal.
Well, they're gonna be real shocked when they have no job because
he ain't fired nobody yet.
I'm saying, but as they start to go in and try to find out who's got to go, they'll weed them out and they'll turn it over to whoever the fuck they're going to turn it over to for final approval, and that's it. But I saw Sandbox and ask you a question. I knew I do got a split for PFL. We got a replacement coming on, chat. And yes, that would probably be a deal breaker for me, Sandbox, if we sent troops or military equipment to Russia, because that would go against everything we talk about of just peace. So
I could see that happening. I'm just saying.
I mean, I doubt it. Doubt it.
But yeah, Mo's got to get ready for a big night over there on Photo Finish Live. If you guys want to check him out and watch him call the races, at least after Tales from the Crypto, or earlier if you want, you can go to his Twitter account, which is linked down in the description below, and you can get to his Kick channel from there. Tune in and see what's going on over there on the Solana horse racing game Photo Finish Live.
Hell yeah. Thank you again, brother, for having me.
Thanks,
Good
Mo.
show, chat.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you as always. Want to come up with a good conspiracy topic for next week.
Yes, I've got one already.
Oh, you do have one. All right, cool.
It's
I haven't
Trump
thought of
being
one
a
yet,
Russian
but
KGB agent. Krasnov. Huh?
am I a KGB agent?
No, I'm saying there's actually a conspiracy theory that Trump is a KGB agent named Krasnov.
Oh, but then we got to do 2 political segments.
I don't think it's worth it.
It's not worth it for me.
True. All right, Mo, appreciate you, bro.
Cool, man. Appreciate you.
Yep,
Chat, take it easy. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace. We'll see you next week, Mo. I'm going to have the big homie, OG Big A, join us for the rest of the stream, hopefully. If everything goes according to plan, I'm going to send him over an invite. We'll talk to Big A. Big A's been on my channel before a couple of times. He's also well known as a co-host over there on the Informant YouTube channel during Drop Day live streams. He's an OG VB user. He's big on the Avalanche blockchain. And he's given me some good alpha on coins to get into, especially on Avalanche, like Avalanche meme coins that have done well for me. All right, hopefully he's able to get that and join us. Until then, let me catch up with the chat. Here comes Big A. Egg prices are due to the bird flu. Yes, I know. There's Big A. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good stuff. Let me turn you up a little bit. What do you think about the whole conversation we've been having so far, especially when it comes to that Zelensky-Trump meeting? What'd you think about it?
I mean, the comment I said was, I went back and watched it, and it feels like Trump kind of wants just the win, to say that he ended the war. Like, he just wants to ceasefire no matter what. And it like he was kind of pulling it up throughout the meeting, and then as the meeting was going on, it looks like Zelensky was kind of pushing back a little, and he wasn't liking that, and that's kind of, you can see him slowly getting more and more frustrated as the meeting goes on, that the deal wasn't like a done deal.
Right, because that would be a big W for him, because he was talking about the whole time how he's going to be able to end the war whenever he becomes president. And yeah, that makes sense that he thought that he was getting to that end, and then Zelensky started to act like, nope, it's not over right now. He's going to be a little bit harder to deal with than you thought, and so I guess maybe Trump got frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying one side right or wrong. I followed the Ukraine war. I've followed like the channels that show like the daily movements and stuff, and it's a tough war. It's a sad war. But man, I don't know. I see what Zelensky was. I think Zelensky got a little bit of a bad rap because first there's a little bit of a language barrier. So
true.
Like he wasn't as fast in the responses, but he was trying to make a point, and they kind of like jumped on him before he even got the point out, and they trying to paint it like it was just super ungrateful. I don't know. Apparently, I talked to my parents about it because my mom's one of the ones that is on Facebook seeing all the right-wing stuff all day. So it was like 40 chess that Trump set up that meeting knowing that Zelensky was going to go off, and he was just doing that to get him from asking to go to NATO, and I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like some people in MAGA just live in a whole alternative reality. We got some of them in the chat too. No offense, Troy and Jay. It's all good. I mean, maybe you guys are in the right reality, and we're the ones living in the alternative reality. But some of the stuff just don't make sense. However, not in the good sense for Zelensky. I've been seeing these videos, and I don't know how true they are. Maybe you know, Big A, but apparently the videos are of the soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, going up to civilians in Ukraine that didn't join the army and just kidnapping them, throwing them into a car and driving off and putting them in the army forcibly. Is that something they do, and you think that's okay? Because that kind of...
You're saying the Ukrainian side?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, there's videos where, but I mean, that's every war that has a conscription program. You have people that they didn't respond. I mean, that happened here in the Vietnam War. They didn't respond, and they would come get some of them. Not all of them, obviously, and they did get pardons afterwards. But yeah, it happens.
So they did that in America during the Vietnam War. They would come to your house, drag you away, give you a gun, send you to Vietnam. Oh man, I'd be mad.
I mean, but then you see the videos of like the people who tore up the draft cards and stuff. So I don't know how enforced that was, and if they just arrested you and like you either like you sit in jail or you go to war. Or I don't know if they actually like arrested them and made them go to war on top of that.
Probably be too dangerous to send somebody like that to war. They probably just made them sit in jail. Of course, you could be rich and then just say you got bone spurs or something, and you could dodge it completely. Let me catch up with the chat here. There's a couple other topics on politics to talk about this week. There's actually tons of them, but we only have time for a few. Denny says they all donate to their own charities and receive tax breaks. Yeah, especially Elon Musk. There was actually a little bit of controversy about how he does his all of his donations. They go all to his own charitable organizations that have no employees. It's kind of crazy. Viper says make sure to rate him when done here. Who are we rating? Oh, Mo? Yeah, absolutely. Jay said, I have to remind me if I don't remember. How are you upset that your employer is asking you to come back to work after 4 years of working from home? I mean, I worked from home for a little bit when I worked at the Census Bureau whenever the pandemic began, and I freaking loved it. I did all the exact same work. I got all my work done, but I got to do it from home. I don't know how that hurts anybody. Like, why do you have to be at the office? I mean, there's a reason to it. Why do you have to be at the office if you're getting your work done? What do you think Big A should they have to?
Who decides if you're getting your work done? I mean, if the supervisor shows that you're getting your work, I don't see a problem. I mean, I think that's where like a lot of work is going in the future, where you can do your work remotely.
Exactly. That is going to be the future, especially
obviously not for every job. You can't do like concrete work or landscape remotely. Right. But if you're in a field where you can do it, and but and that also leaves the door open to taking advantage of it, and then maybe you're doing 3 hours work a day and on what they think should be a full work day, so maybe you lose some efficiency there, and there's there's other issues there, but I think you can work from home.
Yeah, I think it depends on the job. Most jobs will have a quota, and if you're meeting your quota, it should be fine. The problem is there's a lot of people on the right that just have this old school way of thinking that says you have to come to the office, and it really feels like because they want to put their thumb on you, they want to have control over you. If you're doing your job from home and you're getting your job done, then really the only reason to have you there is to look over your shoulder, which is a control thing. Viper says I'm not doing homework. All right, never mind. What's up, Pixel Pudding?
I mean, there's some of them like where I understand like you should come in. Like when I worked for a real estate developer, we did a lot of our work on the phone because we'd all be in different projects, but we still had like a weekly meeting of the minds. Right. That even though we could talk, having it in person and being able to go back and forth really was valuable.
Yeah, and people even do that on Zoom now too, so don't even necessarily have to be in the office for that, but it's strange how some people just want everybody in the office and they don't seem to have a real reasoning why. I don't really understand why you have to be there. Troy says for open borders, I'm actually probably to the right of most people on the left, most progressive. I'm probably to the right, most people on most progressives when it comes to the border. I think the what's it called, the where you're trying to seek asylum, I think that whole system is broken. There's no reason if you're seeking asylum that you should be waiting in America while you seek asylum. And I think that was actually Trump's remain in Mexico, his order that I actually agreed with whenever it comes to asylum seekers. So I'm definitely not for open borders. I think that we have had about 1 million immigrants legally every year for like 20, 30 years, even back whenever Trump was in office. Now, there was a little bit of a difference because we had COVID and they did Title 49. And during that year of Title 49, there was like half as many. There was like 500,000 that year. And then the next year that they got rid of Title 49, there was like 1.5 million. So it evened out to still about an average of 1 million a year. And I think that's what the economy needs. And the economy would really struggle without immigrant labor, as if we don't have it, we're going to find out. Mo's in the chat now. Let's go. Says, so the peace is now a bad thing. I mean, that's the argument that people say whenever I argue against Russia and Zelensky, the whole Ukraine thing. Here's my argument. Nobody is pro-war. We don't want the war to continue. The whole point is that Trump said he was going to be negotiating. He was going to be a negotiator. He needed to negotiate a better deal. This is not a deal. This is give Russia everything. Then Russia goes and rebuilds up their arms, and then a Democrat comes into office, and then Russia attacks again. So this, I mean,
that's kind of the point Zelensky was bringing up. Basically, you know, they've been breaking, I feel like 25 different agreements.
Right.
The Minsk Accord, wasn't that like in 2016? But it all started in 2014. So it's not like Trump was trying to paint that, well, this all happened under Biden, so it's because you had weak Biden. It's like, no, it started in 2014 when Obama, but then after Obama was you and then Biden. So it's like, but he wasn't saying that, you know, my parents were like, well, you know, you're coming there asking for help, and you're basically somewhat embarrassing them because, you know, maybe they are not being 100% truthful and saying, well, this only happened under Biden, but you're kind of like embarrassing them, or, you know, calling them a liar somewhat. So it's kind of disrespectful. You should do that behind closed doors.
Which is kind of true. I can see that argument. It is a little bit disrespectful. That's true. But maybe that was his only chance. Maybe he doesn't talk to him behind doors. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Zelensky looks like he just want to say, look, every time we've done this, they've broken it.
Right.
We're the victims. They invaded us. So, you know, what's going to make it different? He's like, because I'm the president. And, I mean, but you were the president when they were breaking it all in 2016, 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
So, I understand his restraints. It doesn't mean they can't come to an agreement. Especially, you know, like if they want to do the mineral agreement and then the U.S. has actual interest in there and will have people on the ground, then, you know, I think Russia would be very reluctant to attack, you know, U.S. interests.
Yeah, and Americans will be really upset if we end up putting troops on the ground in Ukraine. But it's all about that lithium, like Woody says, and Elon Musk, I think, really wants that lithium. That's part of that deal. And if maybe the deal is that we get 50% of their lithium for the rest of eternity, that we'll put troops on the ground.
Because the biggest reserves of lithium were in like Peru and Chile.
I thought they just found some in Ukraine or something. I don't know. I heard a lot.
No, they have a lot of rare earths, but I didn't think it was lithium.
It was something to do with Tesla batteries.
Yeah,
I have to look into it.
There's like manganese, nickel, cobalt.
Oh.
And I think those are the harder ones to get. Lithium's a salt. Like if you look how they harvest lithium, they basically just extract. It's a salt, so they put it into these pools that just like bake in the sun and evaporate, and that's how you get most of your lithium. It's not.
Big A got all the alpha, y'all. That's why he's here. The A stands for alpha. All right, let me catch up with the chat. He wants to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Award. Apparently, somebody hasn't nominated him. One of his yes men. I used to hate homework back in the day. Don't we all? Don't we absolutely all? I think it was more added cost of living, have an office space, and the extra expense of the homeworker. Keep waiting to work from home and see how AI takes your job. AI's going to take your job anyway. What's up, Thanu? Good to see you, my man. I don't have any problem with working from home. I don't understand how Trump gets a bad rap on deportation when Obama deported more people. Ain't nobody giving him a bad rap. He even deported less people than Biden at this point. The people that are giving him a bad rap are the people who voted for him and want more people deported. Why was taking so long? He said he was deporting everybody. What he says, this is the third invasion war since the fall of USSR, Georgia, then Crimea, then Ukraine. Crimea is part of Ukraine, though, but yeah, Russia. I mean, if you let them win, then it's just going to give them the ability to attack again or attack somebody else. We're shutting down the supply of nickel to USA. I didn't know that. All right, another topic that I had in politics was the whole situation with the Epstein files. This is another one of those day one promises that Trump said he was going to make sure that the Epstein files gets released. And then they had this crazy stunt where they took a bunch of, I don't know, YouTubers or tweeters, people that are popular on Twitter.
I saw that.
To the White House, and they gave them these binders, and the binders supposedly had this information that was not yet released. And then later we found out the binders were full of information that had already been released. A lot of it was redacted, but the previously released stuff was unredacted. So they got stuff that was even more redacted than stuff that was already available. So the crazy part is that no new information about the Epstein case or the Epstein list has come out at all. They had this big roar about how Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, had just gotten the Epstein list on her desk. She was about to release it any second. I don't understand what's going on with the whole Epstein list. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, but now that Trump is in charge of the FBI with Kash Patel and all them, that he's probably all over the Epstein list. Jeffrey Epstein said himself that he was best friends with Trump for 10 years. Jeffrey Epstein said that the first time that Trump had sex with Melania was on the Lolita Express. So I don't know if they can release it without implicating maybe not Trump, but a bunch of Republican donors. Their claim now, the new claim from the right, is that some guy in southern New York is the one that is keeping all the Epstein files and not letting them have access to them. So this sounds crazy to me. Have you heard much about this, Big A? Or what do you think about it?
I mean, we've been hearing about it for like nonstop.
Yeah.
I think, like, you know, it's also somewhat overblown because aside from being like a terrible person and a pedo or whatever, Epstein, he also was like one of the top business people. So, you know, there was a lot of relationships they had with other business people that had nothing to do with like kids and doing illegal things with kids. So
right.
Like just because like you were maybe like in a meeting with him or visited him, like I think Trump's going to be all over it, but I also don't think Trump was like did anything illegal with kids. I just think like they both are into like young women and I don't know. I mean, but nobody knows though. But like I think like everyone's writing into the wall. If you had like any association with him, you're obviously like a child sex trafficker or something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. He was a big guy in business in general. So who knows who had business with him? Might have flew on his plane just to some business meeting, and that's going to implicate him and make that person look like a pedo, even though they're just some CEO.
Right. Yeah. I mean, not everybody at John Wayne Gacy's church were like into like serial killing.
Right, yeah, 100%. But actually what really gets crazy into Epstein that I'm just starting to learn more about is his connections with Mossad. So Mossad is the Israeli CIA, and Ghislaine Maxwell, I guess her father, Ghislaine Maxwell, which is Jeffrey Epstein's second-hand man, that lady, her dad is in the Mossad himself. And then in 2013, I think it was, the former prime minister of Israel was at Jeffrey Epstein's California mansion. So there's a lot of connections there that maybe he was working with Mossad to get all these politicians or these high-name people to come to his island and then videotape them doing illegal things with underage women and then using that to blackmail them. So a lot of people are saying that's why he got murdered or suicided, and that's another reason why a lot of the files might not be coming out. I don't know. They promised that the Epstein files would come out. So I don't understand what it is that's keeping them from releasing that. I mean, there must be some big names in there. I mean, they know that they want to nail people like Bill Clinton and Democratic donors, but if there's just too many Republican donors, there's too many big names on there that they don't want to implicate, then that list will never come out. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also like the Diddy thing. Like Diddy had like one of the biggest Hollywood parties, and they that doesn't, I don't think that means that everyone that went into his Hollywood parties was there for like all the freaky stuff that happened, because from a lot of the stuff I've seen people talking about it that were actually there, there was like the party and then there was like the party with the baby oil in
the back rooms.
Yeah, there was like the freak party, so it was two separate things. So it doesn't, so now it's like, oh, you went to Diddy's party, so you're into that, like it's guilty by association. So I think it's not as clean cut, and maybe that's why there's doing so much redacted. Like all these rich guys, they all hang out and they're socialites, so that doesn't mean that everyone he hung out with, that, and a lot of them probably didn't know what he was doing as far as like the legal part.
True.
Maybe that's why they're redacting their names, because hey, they met for a dinner. Maybe he came and visited for a day at his island or whatnot, rode jet skis and left. And
imagine if you were Diddy, one of Diddy's good friends, and you went to a bunch of his parties, but you didn't even know all this stuff was happening in the back room. He never invited you back there. Then you found out about it on the news that all this time, all that crazy stuff was happening. You were in the front room, not even enjoying The baby oil. Stan says Bondi took a look at those files and lost her lunch. I guarantee it. Either that or she saw somebody she knew on there. Troy says you should take a quiz to see if you're a Republican or Democrat and explain your thoughts on each question for us so I can understand why your brain works the way it does. Just know that what I say is right. That's what's best for what I say is what's best for society. Ask me any question and I'll answer. Give me a quiz to take. I'll take one. Hear about Bitcoin Trump. There's a couple things going on with Trump and crypto when we get to the crypto section. Yes, Stan, baby oil is correct. Ukraine holds about 1/3 of Europe's total lithium deposits. So yeah, so they do have a lot of lithium. All right, one more.
Right, Europe, but I think worldwide the biggest deposits are. I could Google it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's places where they're mining it already, and I know they're using like child labor in those places too. So, is there some places in Central Africa, or was it Philippines?
Yeah, Chile has the largest lithium reserves worldwide by a large margin.
Oh wow, I didn't know Chile.
The three countries with the highest reserves are Chile by a mile, 9,300. Each one's so that would be like 9.3 trillion metric tons. Australia next with 7 trillion, then Argentina with 4, then China with 3, United States 1,800. Ukraine doesn't even. Canada 1,200. These are, so it'd be like 1.2 trillion. Zimbabwe 480, Brazil 390, Portugal 60, Nambia.
So a lot of it's in
14.
South America.
So we're not even getting anywhere close to Ukraine yet.
Yeah, not many of them from Europe either. So Europe just must not have a bunch of lithium. It's all in South America. All right, another one thing in politics I wanted to point out. Like I said, there were so many, you couldn't get to them all. But this new scandal that came out is really interesting because during the Biden administration, he was prepared to spend a few $100,000 on Teslas for the State Department. They were supposed to be armored Cybertrucks, right? And this story came out about a week ago about how Elon Musk was getting $400 million contract to build armored Teslas. What we found out, and that everybody would argue about it, like, why are we giving this to Elon? And like, no, this happened during the Biden administration. Blame Biden. What we found out, though, was what Biden actually allocated for that was $400,000. And what they did, the Trump administration went in and changed the $400,000 to $400 million and then backdated the records to make it look like Biden did it. This is the kind of crazy stuff that's happening right now. We're only 4 weeks in. So whenever they found...
Are you sure about that, though? Like, have you, like, dug into that? Because that sounds a little, like...
I've heard it, like, from several different sources. You can see from Drop Site News. I've got some links down in the description. I linked this tweet, but, like, you can look it up yourself. Always do your own research, just like in crypto. But basically, from what I've heard, this the whole entire story. Yeah, it was supposed to be...
You see a lot of stuff like this on the right-wing side, too, where, like, this...
That's true.
There's, like, you know, it's, like, 80% true, but then, like, some little extra was added in there to make it seem like it's not.
I would look it up right now, but I'm real laggy, so I better not.
No.
You guys look it up and let me know if you find it.
I'm just curious. That sounds a little wild, but yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely wrong. But I don't think, like, I mean, Tesla needs, like, all this extra money. I mean, yes, the stock's down today, but so has everything in the past, like, I don't know, month or so.
But that's just one thing. Just the other day, Elon Musk said that he found all this waste with some government contract that Verizon had. So he wants to take over with Starlink, that government contract. So once again, more government money, more tax money going to Elon Musk. It's just crazy. It's like they're robbing the country is what it feels like to me. Biggest Bro says, MoKnowz face reveal. Yes, finally, we get to see what MoKnowz.
It was me all along.
You didn't know? It's like the Scooby-Doo. We pulled the mask off of MoKnowz, and we got Big A. Woody says it's strategic because Ukraine trade relationships with Europe and NATO. I never said they had the most. It's strategic, yeah, because the lithium is important, especially right now. Tesla stocks are down, so yeah, that's a lot of the politics stuff. I told Big A if he's coming on the channel, he's got to talk about politics a little bit, but I'm glad to have Big A on because he has the alpha for us. We're going to talk a little bit of crypto. We're going to talk Web3 gaming, so let me switch over to the Web3 gaming scene. Boom shakalaka, we are there. First one I want to talk about, I don't have any graphics for it or anything, but Big A is the first one that I heard about, and it ended up blowing it up, and that's Off the Grid, which he's big into. If you haven't heard about Off the Grid, that is a video game on the Avalanche blockchain. It's a huge AAA video game that's available on PlayStation 5 and on Xbox consoles. I think you can also get it on Steam. I've downloaded it on my son's PlayStation 5 and I've played it. It's kind of like Fortnite where everybody dives in and you try to be the last team remaining. It's really cool and it's on Avalanche. I know Big A played a lot, and I know he's got some good items over there. Have they dropped that guns token yet, and what's going on right now with Off the Grid?
All right, so the guns token's still testnet. So basically, the game doesn't run on Avalanche. It's just a regular game.
Okay.
And that's what makes it so good. It's like this really good. I think it was like 7 years in development. Huge coffers of money. Like I think they have like $80 million still. And they're going to use a good chunk of it when the game releases. When the game releases, which is hopefully going to be this month, or like goes full public, right. That's when the token's going to be live. Oh. The token's in the game. It's just whenever it goes live, whatever you have balance in the game is going to reset. So that just means when you make the guns token, you want to spend it and buy stuff because you will keep anything you buy.
Nice.
Yeah, what makes it so good is just a regular, really fun to play game, and it's available on console. I think that's the biggest part that's been missing from Web3 is the access to console players, because that's where you see like all the new players come in.
Definitely.
You don't see like all the little kids and stuff. They're not playing mostly on big gaming desktops. They're all on PlayStation or Xbox.
Yep.
And whatchamacallit, it's so this gets you into that crowd. But what they've done really good with this game is like a lot of the Web3 games is like, let's make this token, you buy this token, right? That's how we fund the project. Now, like, to pay you money back, we have to like make this token worth more. So like that everything's like about the token. So we can do this little thing that'll make the token worth more. We'll do this little thing. Like it's all about the token and making it more value. And this is more the new formula from the Off the Grid is basically this is just your in-game currency and these are the items, and there's a natural capitalistic market that happens with a free market where people can list their items that they get in the game and they own them. It's not like Fortnite where if you want to sell your skins, you have to sell your whole account. You keep what you earn or buy in the game, and it's in your inventory, and you don't have to do anything crypto. That's another big point. Like you don't have to like download a wallet, connect a wallet every time. You don't have to touch anything crypto related if you don't want to. This is just a fun game. There's in-game currency, using in-game currency to buy stuff in the market. You can sell in the markets in your menu. Don't have to touch or know anything about crypto. If you want to pull that guns token out, there's a guns wallet that you connect. It's in the App Store, ready for Google and iOS, and then you can pull it off there and then send it to exchange once it's live, and you have real money. So you earn guns every game, and you earn a lot more guns by like getting stuff in the game and then selling it in the marketplace, and and then you could sell that. So you basically can earn money by playing.
That's what's different than any other game, especially on any game on console, and gamers might feel this for the first time ever, the ability to earn these items that you can then sell and then actually cash out real money to your bank account. And when people start to get that feeling, as that starts happening for the first time, even if they don't know anything about crypto or Web3, that could be a game changer. And I don't know what the user base is looking like over there. I know they started off really hot at like 5 million gamers. Is it still going pretty strong over there? They got a lot of users?
I haven't looked at the daily numbers, but I know like when you join the game, there's like a warm-up period until the game fills. Mm-hmm. When I first started playing, like we'd play for like 4 or 5 minutes before the game fills. Now I'm there like 20 seconds, 30 seconds before the game starts. A lot of times it's like 10 seconds. I don't even get a chance to like spawn into the warm-up before the game starts because the game's filling like immediately.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's such a well-made game, and it's that online battle royale type game. That's what people love. And
I think they're up to 14 million wallets.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's what, in 6 months?
Dang. Yeah, pretty good. Absolutely. I know
Yeah.
they slowed down a little bit when Call of Duty Black Ops came out.
Yeah.
But people are starting to get good at the game too. I've seen some highlight footage of people playing, and they are like ridiculously good. Denny LC says, sorry, off topic, but Acclaim, the makers of NBA Jam, is making a comeback. Double J Jeff Jarrett, that's my dude, is part of it too. So maybe a new NBA Jam game and a new WWE arcade style game. That sounds awesome. It's crazy that they're using Double J. I've actually seen him wrestle in person. I haven't been to many live events, but I like Double J. He's from this area. Troy says, don't be scared, Vol. I'll be here for you after you discover you're really a Republican. That would blow my mind.
You gotta put the hat on now.
I got the MAGA hat right here. I mean, you never know. It's all coming together now. Daniel C says, Canada is threatening to put 100% tariffs on Teslas. I hope they do that. That would be hilarious. And then another game that Big A suggested to talk about today is Haunted Space. Haunted Space. I don't know much about it. What is it, Big A?
I don't know too much about it either. I just kind of saw it almost by accident because I've been getting even more into like the Avalanche game, and they have a really good token drop coming out from one of the gaming DAOs, basically one of the biggest and main gaming DAOs that have been around. And Haunted Space, if you go on YouTube, you can actually see like PlayStation put out a trailer from them, IGN.
Oh, really?
So it's 3 years ago.
Oh.
So they've been building for a while. Now it's like a space shooter game. I didn't see like any like in-person gameplay. I think it's all the ships, and I could not find what the Web3 part is, but it is a Web3 game that's going to be available on consoles. There is a playtest currently going on, I believe, and or an alpha test, and whatchamacallit, but there's also 3 different types of games tied to it. There's the main game that's going to be the one on console, but it looks like there's 2 mini games. One that looks like it's an app, and one that looks like it's on Telegram.
Oh, nice.
Like a little Telegram game. So I don't know if the Web3 part is just on those mini games, or it all ties together. But I'm interested. Something like a Web3 game on console is where it's at. Like, that's the future.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely moving into the mainstream when they do things like that. I want to see some more Web3 games in VR for my Oculus headset. That's what I'm excited for, and visiting the VVverse in the Oculus headset for the first time, which I haven't done yet, but I think you are able to do. So if you guys want to check out Haunted Space, I've got a link to their Twitter down in the description. Then you can go there and check out that video. I didn't have time to record the video, so go and check it out for yourself. Denny OC is a Double J fan. JEFFJARRETT. That's what he says. Troy says, I sent the link through X because it wouldn't send here. Oh, so this is to find out if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If we have time, I'll do it. I ain't scared. All right, I'm a little scared.
Just to wrap up, also on Off the Grid. Off the Grid is a free game. So like if you like shooters, PvP games, like a Call of Duty or Battlefield, but with a lot more, I don't know, what would be a good comparison? Call of Duty with
Apex Legends.
Apex Legends, that's a good one. But it's free to play. You play, you might get a bunch of stuff that's worth a lot of money, or the project doesn't do well, nobody likes it, which I don't think is going to happen, and you just your only risk is you played a game you had fun playing. Like,
right.
You don't have to buy anything, you don't have to connect a wallet, you don't have to buy a token. Yep. Nothing. You just download it on your Xbox, PlayStation, or it's in the Epic Game Store. It's not in Steam because Steam doesn't allow games that have Web3 parts to them.
Right.
So it's in Epic Game Store.
And like me and Mo always talk about, I think this is the best way to get gamers into Web3. It's like a Trojan horse. We don't want them to know it's Web3 until they're already playing it and enjoying it. Then we'll tell them it's Web3. You can make money off of it, and then they'll be more excited about it. If you tell them it's Web3 and NFTs up front, they're going to say no thank you. So yeah, Trojan horse in there.
The guys I play with, that's how it started. Like, they knew nothing about crypto other than like, it's all rug scams and NFTs are scams and this and that, but they enjoyed playing the game. And then like the more we talked about it, I'm like, look, this might be like your easiest entry into crypto because like you're playing this game anyway, just stack good stuff.
Right.
So like that's where like VB also helped me, because you kind of learn like to see in the NFT markets how like stuff kind of ebbs and flows, the prices. You can see like when stuff seems like it's underpriced. So like the Trump skin, the for the election time in like November or end of October, they introduced a Trump and Kamala skin set that was free. If you had, there's like a $10 a month paid membership that gives you like free skins and stuff.
Nice.
In a battle pass.
Yep.
Those Trump skins, I thought like no matter what, that's a one-time release. It's only like the third skin or the second skin out in the game. Second skin, because the first was Ninja. So I think eventually it'll be valuable. They were dropping them for like 250 guns token, 200 token. I even bought a couple at 50. I stacked up 34 of them.
How much is that? 250 guns tokens.
There's no value, but it'd probably be like a $2 or something like
nice.
that.
Yeah.
But the current price now is like 14,000 each one. And I stacked 34 of them.
Sheesh, let's go.
And like the guys I play with that are not into crypto, not into the thing, I've kind of taught them like what to look for, and they have like nice stacked inventory. Like right now, I have about almost 2 million guns worth. If I sold everything I own now in my inventory for like the current floor price, I'd have about 2 million gun. Obviously, when the game fully launches and even more people come in, the price is going to go up. But that 2 million guns, depending on launch price, that could be 15,000, 45,000, penny, 3 pennies.
So is that your plan to sell whenever it launches? Because that might be when the price is highest.
I mean, if the game continues, it's going to be like owning the John Wick skin in Fortnite, except you can sell it.
There you go. Yeah.
It's going to be so like every time like there's something, like everything I bought has gone up so much in guns token since I bought it. Just stuff that I even just bought last month when the old battle pass was coming to an end. Everyone rushed to finish their battle pass, and they couldn't wait to like dump all the items. There was a bunch of items, and it pushed the prices down. So I bought all that up.
Smart. That's how you make the money in Web3 right now, is find stuff early.
So it's like 2 games in one. So I'm playing the actual game, but then I also play the market like I play the video market.
Yeah, and the game is really fun too. You guys should check it out. It's called Off the Grid. Like I said, it's available on PlayStation and Xbox. It's available on Steam. It's a big time game. Most of the people playing don't even know it's Web3. AAA style game. Check it out and maybe start stacking on there the way Big A has, and it could pay off in the future. All right, for our crypto topic, there's several, of course, as you guys probably know, lots of stuff going on in crypto right now. Probably more stuff than ever gone in crypto in the past. The first thing we're going to talk about is Donald Trump announcing the new crypto reserve, and he did an executive order on digital assets, and it has directed the presidential working group to move forward on the strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano. And a lot of people were not expecting those 3 coins. Definitely not expecting Cardano. I know a lot of people say XRP is a whole entire scam. There's a lot of people that are super, super bullish on XRP. I don't know which way everybody goes on that. We'll hear what Big A says about it. But one thing that was really interesting about it are these are the 3 biggest holdings of David Sachs, the crypto czar. So a lot of people think there's a little bit of controversy, a little bit of scandal going on, that it just happens to be his 3 biggest bag. He claims, David Sachs now responds and says that he sold all his crypto. I don't know if I believe that or not, but his company probably still holds these assets, right?
It wasn't like a significant. The guy's got money. It's not involving you. You got to understand, like the head of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson. He's right there from day one with the president. Like he's involved in like the crypto advisory board or whatever. And there's a bunch of those guys. But this is also like probably what put in the ear of Trump to prioritize like American made tokens. So that's why you're seeing XRP. That's why you're seeing Cardano. One that a lot of people don't know is an American coin is Avalanche.
Yep.
Avalanche is Avalabs in New York, and the CEO of Avalabs, Emin, Emin's last name I forgot, but he's in the Technology Advisory Committee of the CFTC.
Okay. The Federal Trade Commission?
I'm sorry?
The CFTC, is that the Federal Trade Commission?
Yeah,
Consumer Financial, yeah.
the Consumer Financial Trade.
I don't think I've heard of that. I've heard of the FTC.
That's where, so the CFTC is where, oh my God, Commodities Futures Trading Commission.
My bad.
That's where they want to move from the SEC to the CFTC, the regulation of crypto.
Oh,
They're
I
trying
see.
to move it there. So
that would have had
that's
Charles Hoskinson's, which I've seen his Twitter before. He's very much of a Trump guy, and he's also
he is a Trump guy.
Yeah, the creator of Cardano. And I know there's a lot of Cardano bulls. I even had Cardano at one point. So some people were saying when XRP pumped that Cardano could be the next like legacy coin that would pump, and sure enough, it got a big pump. But right when this was announced, everything pumped a whole bunch, and then right after that, everything dropped a whole bunch, and it's been dropping since, and it's down further than it was before it started pumping. Some people call it a pump and dump. I mean, do you have any insights or theories about what exactly happened there, Big A?
I mean, so like traditionally the markets have like gotten to that like super crazy altcoin season once QT ends. Once we get the quantitative tightening to end, we go into quantitative easing. And we're still not there. So, we're still like in the Bitcoin first stage, and Bitcoin just had a huge move up. So, a lot of people were in crypto that are big traders. They've been kind of expecting this pullback move. And 72 is like the next support level that's on the table.
Sheesh.
But the altcoins are getting demolished.
Yeah, there has been no altcoin season yet. I don't know what's going on with that. People have been expecting that by now.
I bought more Avalanche today. I bought a few other coins. I also hit another Blub token launch today. I thought I bought the wrong token, so I only made a 2x on it because I was surprised I was even able to cash out because the way it displayed in my Shuriken bot.
Oh, yeah.
It showed like there's no liquidity. I'm like, oh my God, did I just click on a scammer's link thinking it was the right one? Or not their link meaning to the wrong token, not like a drainer link or anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was an LFG link because it was listed on formerly Trader Joe, Let's Fucking Joe.
Yep.
Dex. But I completely.
Well, I know there's some people that were upset about what was going on. This was what I was talking about with the crypto czar with David Sachs. Like you said, it wasn't a lot of money, but also mere hours before Trump made this big announcement, someone bought $200 million in Ethereum and Bitcoin on 50x leverage.
Yeah, they didn't buy them. They opened up longs on leverage.
Right.
And then the tweet comes out on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So the market can't react.
Right.
Which usually anything that happens on a weekend usually gets reversed on Monday. It's just the normal market mechanics.
Right.
So like if you get a huge pump on a Sunday, most people, like you could see in the trade order flows at the peak of this pump on Sunday, you could see that people were actually opening up new shorts. Usually you see the imbalance, and that's what kills it. You don't have the liquidity of shorts on that side. So you usually get the pump ends because then everyone gets on one side of the trade and we're all long. Everyone was start playing shorts, which, leaves an opportunity to liquidate those shorts and gives you the fire to go even higher. But we didn't. We stopped and then we pulled back. And
so the people who shorted made some money.
Yeah. But whoever had that long, I believe they closed them, but when they were like 5 million in profit or even more. It was crazy numbers of profit.
Yeah, so people feel like there was some insider trading going on there. Hard to prove, though, if you don't know who owns what wallets. Stan says, why aren't there more off-the-grid games for Web3? Illuvium was supposed to be the crown jewel, but it flopped. Yeah, a lot of people were trying to make AAA games, but it takes a long time to make AAA games. So, like, the one that we just showed you was another game that they're talking about could possibly be on console as well. We just got to wait for... technology to advance for these game creators. You gotta think Web3 didn't start till like 3 or 4 years ago, and it takes 4 or 5 years to make a AAA type game.
It goes back to, so like Illuvium was a great looking game, but when I played it, it just wasn't fun. It wasn't very fluid. It was almost like it was 3 games in one.
Right.
Like a little mini game, and then you had to go. But then it was like a busy work game too. Like you have to pay just to play. And you can collect as many things that are worth money in the time that you've paid for. Like it's all pay for this, pay for that, make this so you can pay for that. Like it's all like the old kind of Web3 mentality. Like I buy something that's worth money so that I can make it worth more money and money. Yep. It's not like a fun game first that has like a Web3 element. So
yeah, I've tried playing Illuvium. I didn't like it very much either. Stan the Man says, will VB ever link their inventory to a game? It'd be nice if they linked it to the Disney metaverse that they're building right now with Epic Games, but we can only dream. Denny LC says, I cashed out a couple weeks ago. It's too scary right now. Is in profit so hard not to. Yeah, I cashed out a couple months ago and have not really put much back in. I put a little back in to play the trenches and lost all that money. I started off with like 150 and took that all the way up to like 1,700 off the Trump coin, and then lost all that 1,700.
Yeah, I heard.
Little by little. Yeah, a lot of people think market manipulation happening right now for sure.
I mean, that's all it would take, if like one of his sons would open up a long and say, Dad, tweet this tonight.
Right. I'm waiting for them to drop the Baron coin.
What's that?
I'm waiting for them to drop the Baron Trump meme coin. That one's going to do numbers.
I think people are pretty sick of like the Solana meme posters. Even if you like today, yesterday, I didn't get the whitelist for DQN, the error token, and I still got like a 6x from. And what was really cool how they did this one. Okay, so right when the token launches, it had a 90% buy tax, meaning if you bought $100 worth, you're going to get $10 worth.
Right. In
the first, I think it was minute or 30 seconds. So if you went to Earnings Bay, whereas the one that launched it, you could see a countdown, and every 2 seconds, the buy tax would get lower. So it was almost like gamified. So like I went in at 37% buy tax because I figured everyone probably going to be waiting till the buy tax over and buy there. And that actually ended up being true because I bought at 37% buy tax. So I had got 37% less, but I bought at such a low market cap that I instantly got like 6x, like as soon as it got to zero a minute and a half later. I didn't sell, and then it pulled back some because the market's horrible, and I ended up selling for like 3.5x profit.
That's still pretty daggone
good. 3.5
is
still good for like, I don't know, half an hour.
That sounds complicated though. I didn't know. I haven't bought a coin that has buy taxes like that, especially ones that change.
Yeah, it was the first time I've seen that mechanic, and it was so good too, because that's the problem on some of these big, huge tokens. We did one, Shiraniko. We were literally in there like 3 seconds after they posted the thing. Click, 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 click. I'm in. I had my auto buy on my Shuriken. I was in.
Nice.
And I got in at like 400 million market cap. I'm like, how's it 400 million? It's been literally 3 seconds. Snipers. And it's because all the snipers and stuff and insider bullshit going on. So, but the ones on Avalanche have been pretty much on the up and up. Blub launched today. If you got the pre-sale, like the lowest pre-sale you could have gotten was one Avalanche, so like $20.
Nice.
But it's currently worth like 55 Avalanche.
Nice. Yeah, Avalanche coins, the new ones, the meme coins have been doing really well. And then one of the graphics I have here is actually about base coins. This was tweeted by AIXBT, which is a AI bot that I used to own their coins. They got their own meme coins as well. It made a lot of money off of them. They posted about how Base just apparently killed Solana, so they dropped the mic with his flash blocks that do 200 millisecond block times that are coming in Q2, straight up 2 times faster than Solana. I feel like there's going to be at least a big battle of blockchains. Who can win out that blockchain war for utility?
That's propaganda. So if you dig into that further, so what Base is doing with flash blocks are basically shreds on Solana. What they are like transactions that are not fully confirmed. So they're like kind of like IOUs. It does it on the smaller transactions just to move everything along faster.
Okay.
So by comparing flash blocks to the entire process block of Solana is disingenuous, because flash blocks is like shreds. So you should be carrying flash blocks to shreds, and shreds are, I think, 40 milliseconds. As opposed to...
See, that's why we got Big A here for us, y'all. He's breaking it down. So this is all propaganda by an AI bot. Oh my goodness, who can you trust if you can't trust a bot on X? Gosh dang it. All right,
well,
so there you go.
This is an AI bot taking what was already like put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the one that came up with this. This was already kind of out there. But
it's interesting to know, though. I mean, I'm glad you told us.
But at the end of the day, like, you know, Base is a great chain also.
Yes.
And whether you're on Base or Solana, you click the button, it's there like almost instantly. Like the difference is not, I believe overall Solana is still faster to full completion.
Yeah, but instant to instant, like you said, it's not going to make much of a difference. One of the blockchains I like a lot is touted as being the fastest blockchain of all, but they're all pretty much instant, so the fact that it's a little bit more instant really is not that valuable.
Right. Right.
All right. Another thing I want to bring up here is the announcement of the upcoming Crypto Summit. March 7th is the Crypto Summit. Some people expect there to be some announcements made during the Crypto Summit. I was trying to think of what some of the speculation was. There was one.
Well, the main speculation is that Trump's going to announce that he's going to waive capital gains taxes on American coins. But you can't do that with an executive order, so that's not true. But if part of that's true, where he's going to say, I want this done, and I'm going to direct my people in the Senate to push this along and vote for it, then that's just as good.
And his bags are already packed, so he wants the crypto market to pump. So, I mean, the World Liberty Financial has already bought up a lot of stuff. They've already staked a lot of coins, so it would make sense for him to do something that the crypto market is going to find bullish because it helps him.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I bought some more Avalanche today, aside from it being so incredibly underpriced, or what I consider underpriced, not financial.
Yeah, I like Avalanche a lot. All right, Stan the Man's got a question for us. It's definitely going to be different between us. What was the panel's biggest crypto win? I'm sure Big A's got some big ones. I don't know if he wants to share them all. My biggest crypto win, probably going to have to go with Vivi, the $100 Givenchy NFT that I sold for $4,000. 100 to 4,000. That's what, 40x. That's all. That's my best. I mean, I did have the Todd McFarlane Batman that I bought for 100 and sold for 7,000, but I think that's even less of an X, and I got gems for that. Whereas with the Givenchy, I got cash. So that's my biggest win for sure. What was your biggest crypto win, Big A?
I mean, I was buying Bitcoin. I remember it was December, like I don't know, somewhere in December of 2018, I was buying 3,200 of Bitcoin.
3,200 Bitcoin? That's how the price of Bitcoin at the time?
Yeah, I still had the screenshot because I went back to my thing. Well, I have the Coinbase ones. I was buying on Binance too.
Nice.
But Binance left. That was before Binance US existed. That was regular Binance, and they left, so I don't have like my transactions. But
so for those who don't know, Bitcoin, what he was buying it for one Bitcoin cost 3,200. Currently, one Bitcoin I think is around 85,000, but it was up all the way up to over 100,000 at one point.
Yeah.
So that's pretty huge, 33x.
But also, I was mining Ethereum in 2018.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
10 ETH a month, and for the cost of about $810 in electricity. So that, like $81 in each ETH.
Man. And now one ETH is worth like, I want to say 2K, 3K?
It's like 2,200.
Oh, it's dropped. I know. I want to be careful because I know
it was 3,700 last month. It's going to go back. I mean, You get kind of immune to like seeing six figures up and down like in an hour or two.
With Trump in office, there's a whole lot of uncertainty, but the fact that he's so bullish on crypto and the SEC is dropping a lot of crypto cases and all the deregulation, I think overall it should be bullish for crypto.
Yeah.
Pokey says, I don't do cash out for Bitcoin yet. Maybe the bull run comes. Anything goes up for money. I think we're getting there. I'm not certain about it. Is Sonic quicker than Solana? I heard Sonic was really fast too. Isn't that the new blockchain everybody's talking about?
It's not new. It's a rebrand of Phantom.
Oh.
But yeah, it's getting a lot of attention. Yeah, it is. I mean, once you get to a certain point, the speed is not really the issue. It's the amount of transactions it can handle.
Oh, nice. Right, gotcha. Because you don't want it to get bogged down or crash like Solana does. There's another thing I wanted to talk about on crypto, which I really didn't understand. This was an announcement that Trump Organization has filed a trademark for Trump to launch a metaverse and an NFT trading platform. What kind of metaverse is Trump trying to launch here? This is something you would have done 4 years ago. I don't really understand their move here. What do you think about it, Big A?
No idea. I mean, I don't know if he's already had a bunch of NFT projects. Yep. So I don't know if they've been profitable for him. Like when he got elected, that's when I had a couple of the Trump NFTs, and finally they were underwater, but I sold them for a decent profit when he got elected. I'm like, finally.
I heard they pumped a little bit when he dropped his meme coin too.
What's that?
I heard they pumped a little bit his NFTs when he dropped his meme coin.
Yeah. Was it? Maybe it was during when his meme coin. It was one of those. It was that or when he was elected. I thought it was like 2 days after he was elected. I don't know. It was recently because I bought the last NFT that had fine print that you can't sell for like a year and 2 months.
I know a lot of people were upset about that because they didn't see it until they bought it.
And it was hidden. It was like in this tiny little print. Like this was his fourth one, and the previous 3 didn't have it, so nobody was like looking at fine print to see that, and we already had bought, so it was like unsellable for a year and 2 months. So, and then once it was sellable, it was worth like pennies on the dollar. And then ended up selling it. I paid 50 or 100 for each, and I sold them for like 2-3x. So I got out with a profit, so I'm happy.
I think it's smart to buy those Series 1 Trump NFTs just for collectibles, collector's items, 100%, especially since they're cheap right now. But I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff. But
I wouldn't mind now. I think the pumps already kind of
really
happened. I'm not sure that. I mean, NFT is just not a narrative anymore. Like the NFTs that you're seeing do well, they're isolated, but they're not doing well because like, hey, look at this super expensive PFP I got and flexing, other than maybe a CryptoPunk,
right? Or Bored Ape.
Or what?
A Bored Ape.
I don't think Bored Apes really gets the. I think a Pudgy Penguin gets more.
Well, Pudgy Penguins are actually doing stuff. They're like partnering with McDonald's and coming out with physical.
That's the thing. Like, why is Pudgy Penguin doing so good? Because holding one got you Pengu. It got you. So all these other airdrops, it gets you. Like it's like Vivi does with their gold logo. Like it's something that it has utility. Go to parties. It pays you every 4 months or whatever, or 3 months, collectible or whatever the schedule is.
That keeps the value up, and sometimes the things you get for holding those gold logos are worth like 1,000 gems or something. So it's paying off every 4 months. So it keeps giving it value, and that's what.
And those are the NFTs that like I've been buying and holding, especially like an Avalanche. Like all the Avalanche ones were beat down, but now that like all the people are getting sour on Solana after getting just rugged and pumped and dumped on everything, and they saw like the meme coins getting launched. Instead of like 10,000 meme coins getting launched today on Solana, it's like 1 a week or 2 or 3 a week on
that are actually graduating through Pump Fund. I know it's ridiculous.
Yep. I'm saying like on Avalanche, you're not seeing 10,000 coins a day. You're seeing like 1, 2, 3 good ones come out a week that have like a team, and they've been hyping it up for like a month. You had to apply for it, so it's not like. And then you see Avalanche Foundation will come in and they'll make buys into those and support their projects. So you're seeing a lot of people come in, but some of those NFTs will help get you a whitelist, so or a pre-sale, and so you're seeing like the prices like overnight just like 10x or 15x because now it has utility. If you hold it, you have a better chance.
Yeah, utility always drives value on NFTs.
Yeah.
Daniel C said, with Bitcoin, when in doubt, zoom out. And this was actually a chart that Mo sent to me over for the crypto section, where he's comparing the chart of Bitcoin in 2020 to the chart right now. And I mean, it looks like it's doing the same action. I'm not big on the whole what is it called, TA? I'm not big on the whole TA stuff, but I mean, it does look like it's matching up with 5 years ago, and maybe we're getting ready to have a big takeoff on Bitcoin. Denny says, long term, I believe Bitcoin will be the new gold standard, especially when they go to Fort Knox and find out all the gold is gone. Stan the Man says, does Big A believe in the future of VV? That's a good question. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there will always be a place for VV. My two reservations about VV is so like I'm more like a crypto bro. I'm not a collector. Like the stuff collectibles I have, they're like ancient artifacts and coins and stuff like that. They're not, I don't have like comic books and stuff. So what brought me to VV was like, hey, you can buy these cool things that look neat, but you can also make a lot of money on them. So VV needs to get back to that. But I think there'll always be a place for that. The only thing, the last bull run we had where everything was going crazy on VV, those were the NFT guys, the guys that I'm in the trenches with meme coins in. And all those guys, when I talked to them and mentioned VV, they still think it's that platform that you can't withdraw money from. Or the one that had like Logan Paul and pushed their coin and was on the CoffeeZilla thing. Like it's not like interesting to them. Now, if it was super profitable, it'd come back. My one concern is just for this bull run is that we're on the clock. There's an alt season. Like you can, if that chart holds true, you know, we got like what, 6 months left, 8 months left tops. We got to get some momentum, because if you don't have momentum, there's a lot more coins this time around. So the narrative that like everything's gonna pump, I don't think that everything's gonna pump. I mean, everything's gonna go up. I think OMI today is worth less than it will be in months. But does it do 100x? It could if like VV gets going. If not, then it might not.
Yeah, I don't know what VV can do at this point to get going again, or to get ready for the next bull run. I mean, they have to bring in new users, and nobody's interested in NFTs. You can't bring in new users because NFTs and even crypto.
I think they will be though, if you can make money again.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be crazy money either. Like, but it's not like where you have to get lucky and get like an ultra rare, secret rare just to make a tiny bit amount of money, and anything lower than that is instant loss. If you want to sell it, that's what's kind of hurting it most. So like if we can get a little bit more, which, you know, more users will help that, and then it could snowball and go pretty quick after that. I mean, I really enjoy VV. I love the community. It's a super strong community. I have like almost zero fear that VV's gonna die and be that's not any of my concern. My concern, as far as like me wanting to put more money in, would be like, you know, is it gonna miss this bull run because it's not doesn't have much new hype coming in. Right. So, but I like what Ben's done so far, and then there's an influencer program that they're trying to work on. That could bring in, I mean, I think that's probably your best move forward, because the big marketing campaigns, Blackpink, that didn't work.
Right.
You see them advertising on Google and Facebook, I hear. I've seen an occasional one, but you haven't really seen a bunch of new people come in from that. So, yeah, I think a more organic approach to get more people in.
Yeah, personally, I don't think anything big's happening anytime soon, but I do think these collectibles will be worth a lot down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think these are good things to hold on to and just expect long term. Don't expect anything short term, but you never know. What happened last time? It could happen again. Maybe Disney tweets about it. Maybe the president starts talking about collectibles. The administration has already talked about meme coins and NFTs being collectibles, which is bullish for VV. If they start hyping on that more and it becomes mainstream, you never know what could happen with VV. At least you're collecting the biggest brands. You got Disney, you got Marvel, you got Coca-Cola, so you can't go wrong. It seems to be a good long-term value play, but I wouldn't expect much short-term personally.
But I mean, you can also see like how fast it can move. Like as soon as like any little positive announcement happens, like it pumps like instantly, like in hours. But it also comes back because there's no follow through. But you can see like the potential's at least there. That like if they can get something going, it can go pretty quick.
And it's easy to use, it's easy to understand, so it's if new users get a hold of it, if they do something to where they're putting like QR codes on Happy Meals or at the beginning of Marvel movies, it will not be hard for people to understand it and to get involved and to start collecting on here. Yeah, absolutely. Stan the Man says, great intel, so we need Pokemon and withdrawals. That's all we need. We're not asking for much. Just a Pikachu FA drop would be nice. All right, everybody, about time to end the live stream. Big shout out to Big A for co-hosting today. I appreciate you, bro, especially with the alpha you gave us, straightening me out on that base propaganda that I didn't even know was propaganda. Just explained it to us well. Let us know about some games that you're into, some Web3 games. What's your Twitter in case people want to follow you on X if they haven't already?
It's just my name, Big Time Big A.
Big Time Big A. So give Big A big follow over there on Twitter. You can find him on the Informant channel every once in a while. Check him out over there. One last comment from a new name I haven't seen before. What's up, Sahadio? Thanks for hanging out with us. Said 4 and 8 for fiscal 2024, 80 billion tax cut for Elon. Bezos and friends estimate 4.5. You're preaching to the choir, bro. I know they don't understand the difference in the numbers. They're complaining about 1 million and then there's 4 trillion over here and they act like it's the same. It ain't the same, man. Get your math together. All right, thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Thank you for participating. Troy, I'll take your Democrat Republican quiz during the drop stream. Come back and hang out with me and remind me. I'll do it on the drop stream. If you guys are going to be going for the drop this Saturday, I think it's Saturday, it's a Gambit evolvable drop. First appearance Gambit is well, maybe not first appearance, but he's a great character. I'll be live streaming that. Come by and hang out with me, and if not, then I'll see you on next Tuesday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Have a good weekend, Big A. Appreciate you.
See you later.
All right, let's check the price one more time. We're going to end the stream. I think Arcade might be going live today. Think about that. Saw him in the chat. He usually goes live around this time. On Sundays. Sorry, that's tomorrow. My bad. All right, so you can see that
you're still here.
Johnny Dunn will be on the floor at 2100. Ultra rares.
It's over.
75 last time we
go home.
At 155.
Oh, you're expecting a teaser for the next VV drop? Well, we don't have that kind of money.
Rares, we're at 33.
You expecting Sam Jackson show eye patch and saucy little